Chapter 695. Martial Uncle Tsong was killed by one of Xiao Chen's freakish companions. Little Yao's voice was trembling. Senior brother Xiaofan, what did you say back then? Didn't you say it would be easy to take down the Xiao family? Are there no experts in the Xiao family? What's going on? Our Quishan sect's experts are falling one after another. How am I going to explain this to the sect when I get back? At this moment, little Yao Zi wanted to kill Xiaofan. Originally, he wanted to find a woman for his son to marry in the secular world to show the sect that Yao Baoang did not want to participate in the competition for the core disciple position. He wanted to quietly improve his strength in secret. But now, all the experts of the sect had fallen because of this matter. Even martial Uncle Tsong had died. Would the sect let him go when he got back? In this way, no matter how outstanding Yao Baoang was, he would be thrown into the cold palace. Little Yao's heart was bleeding. He went for wool and came home shorn. If he had known this would happen, he would not have come to the secular world. Why did he have to find someone from the Cheng family? I don't know either. Who would have thought that Xiao Chen would have such a powerful ally? Xiaofan was also very depressed. When this matter returned to the sect, he would definitely be the first to be punished. You really got me killed. Little Yao's face was bitter. Now, the only thing I can do is to return to the sect quickly. Cheng Tianxiu, pack your things and return to the sect with me. Xiaofan said coldly. Today's matter has already happened. We are bound together. Don't think that the Cheng family can stay aloof. We won't leave, Xiaofan. Let's forget about the marriage. Cheng Tianxiu was also unyielding now. Xiao Chen had killed most of the experts of the Quishan sect. What was there for the Cheng family to be afraid of? What did you say? You old fart, let me tell you, I can't do anything to Xiao Chen, but I can kill you. Of course, Xiaofan knew why Cheng Tianxiu was so stubborn. He immediately flew into a rage. If you don't want to die, then be quick. However, before Xiaofan finished speaking, his cell phone rang. Seeing the caller ID, Xiaofan's heart skipped a beat. He didn't want to answer it, but he didn't dare to. He could only answer it with trepidation. Hello? Xiao Chen. Young swordsman? Xiaofan, I won't waste any more words with you. I give you until tonight. Take those idiots from your sect and scram from the Cheng family. Otherwise, I will lead my companions to attack you. Don't blame me if you die, said Xiao Chen coolly. You. Xiaofan was fuming with anger. I don't need you to say that. We are about to leave. Oh, and Menjing's engagement has been cancelled. I hope you won't harass her anymore. There is a saying that you won't die if you don't court death. Your senior brothers and martial uncles have already courted death. Now it's up to your performance. Xiao Chen reminded him. I got it. Xiaofan gritted his teeth, but he didn't dare to disagree. After hanging up the phone, Xiaofan waved his hand and said, Junior brother Yao, junior nephew Baoang, let's go. Then Cheng Menjing. Yao Baoang was stunned. Xiao Chen is watching. If you don't want to die, continue. Xiaofan said angrily. Oh. Yao Baoang was not stupid. When he heard Xiao Chen, he immediately shrunk his neck. The three of them didn't stay any longer. They quickly left the Cheng family and returned to the sect. No one mentioned the feast that they had mentioned before. Watching the three of them leave, Cheng Tianxiu breathed a sigh of relief. He smiled bitterly and said, I don't know if our Cheng family is lucky or not, father, we were all deceived by Xiaofan before. Now, our top priority should be to repair our relationship with the Xiao family. Cheng Zhongming suggested. The Cheng family and the Xiao family were on good terms again. This was what he had always wanted to see. It was also an explanation for his missing sworn brother, Xiaofan. You're right. Let's go to the Xiao family immediately. Cheng Tianqiu nodded. He would no longer claim to be the master of the first aristocratic family in Songning. Because from tomorrow onwards, everyone would know that the Xiao family was the first aristocratic family in Songning. Menjing, why don't you come with us? Cheng Zhongming said. Cheng Menjing suddenly felt a little shy. She began to worry about personal gains and losses. She knew that her father and grandfather were going to visit the Xiao family. That meant that they were going to re-establish the in-laws between the two families. Then, she and Xiao Chen. Thinking of this, Miss Cheng's face flushed with anticipation. Am I looking forward to it? How is that possible? Haven't I always disliked Xiao Chen? When she knew about this engagement, she had always been very resistant and wanted to cancel it. But now, when it was about to resume the engagement, Miss Cheng had an inexplicable excitement in her heart. In her mind, the bits and pieces of her time with Xiao Chen flashed involuntarily. From the first time he moved into the villa to the first day of school when he had a dispute with Lu Zhenming and Ma Gangmen. These extremely ordinary things became beautiful and sweet memories. Every time she thought of it, Cheng Menjing would laugh unconsciously. What's wrong, Menjing? Cheng Zhongming saw that his daughter was suddenly in a daze. He felt a little strange. Don't you want to go? Then let's go. Cheng Menjing nodded. She felt like an ugly daughter-in-law who came to visit for the first time. She was a little scared, but she also hoped to get the approval of the Xiao family. What am I thinking? While her imagination was running wild, Cheng Menjing followed her grandfather and father out of the house. They got on the car and arrived at the entrance of the Xiao family's courtyard in a daze. At this time, there were some workers repairing the gate. A few construction vehicles were busy. Cheng Zhongming found a gap and drove in. But just as he entered, he was stopped by the disciples of the Xiao family. They thought that it was another person looking for trouble. When they saw that it was the Cheng family, they were a little nervous and quickly took out the walkie-talkie to call. Of course, when he heard that it was Cheng Zhongming, Xiao Hai naturally wouldn't treat him as an enemy and personally came out to welcome him. Old Master Cheng, why did you come personally? Xiao Hai saw that Cheng Tianqiu was among the people who got off the car and was a little surprised. Previously, the disciple only said that Cheng Zhongming came in a car, but didn't say who else was in the car. Xiao Hai, before this old man was biased against your Xiao family, I'm really sorry. I hope that the Xiao family can give the Cheng family a chance to make up for it. Cheng Tianqiu was a person who was more daring to admit his mistakes, otherwise he wouldn't have said this to Xiao Hai. If he wanted to say it, he would have said it to Xiao Yuanshan. It's all Cheng Zhongfan's fault. I understand that it has nothing to do with old Master Cheng. Please come in. Xiao Hai laughed and didn't pursue the matter. He led the three members of the Cheng family into the guest room. Xiao Chen didn't expect that Cheng Tianqiu would come, and Xiao Yuanshan obviously didn't expect it either. He thought that only Cheng Zhongming came. Old brother Xiao, how have you been? Cheng Tianqiu saw Xiao Yuanshan and quickly walked over. Humph. Xiao Yuanshan coldly snorted, but didn't have a good attitude. It was obvious that he was still brooding over what happened before. I can also be considered as your brother-in-law. Cheng Tianqiu was a little embarrassed. Brother Xiao is an elder, can't you forgive your little brother's mistake? Seeing that my grandson is amazing, you're sticking to me again? Xiao Yuanshan looked at Cheng Tianqiu mockingly. I say, why are you so shameless? Cheng Tianqiu's face was a little red. Although he was indeed a little snobbish before, most of it was because he was deceived by Cheng Zhongfan. However, he did indeed cause harm to the Xiao family. So, at this time, he was very embarrassed. He didn't know how to explain, and could only look at Xiao Yuanshan with a bitter face. Grandfather, it's rare for Menjing to come as a guest. Let's let bygones be bygones. Xiao Chen didn't want to pursue the matter with Cheng Tianqiu. No matter what, this person was Cheng Menjing's grandfather. Since he was able to save him in the historical remains, he didn't want to continue pursuing the matter pointlessly. For my grandson's sake, let bygones be bygones. Xiao Yuanshan then said, Cheng Tianqiu, you wouldn't have come to my Xiao family to propose marriage again, right? Cheng Tianqiu was really, but when Xiao Yuanshan said it with a mocking tone, he really didn't know how to reply. He could only bite the bullet and say, the matter between Menjing and Xiao Chen was decided long ago. Cheng Menjing lowered her head. She didn't know what to do. Her heart was incomparably perturbed. Hearing Xiao Yuanshan's words, it seemed like he didn't want to acknowledge this marriage. In that instant, Cheng Menjing was incomparably disappointed. As for why she was disappointed, she didn't know either. Previously, she was still thinking about what kind of attitude Xiao Yuanshan and the rest of the Xiao family would have towards her. She didn't expect it to be like this. Xiao Chen saw the young Miss awkwardness and smiled, Grandfather, since Grandfather Cheng has already admitted his mistake, let's not dwell on the past. Isn't dinner ready? Let's have a lively meal together. That's right, that's right. Zhongming, take out my treasured wine. Cheng Tianqiu looked gratefully at Xiao Chen and said to Cheng Zhongming. Old thing Cheng, let me tell you. The marriage, that's Menjing's. I've always acknowledged her as my granddaughter-in-law. But you, think about it yourself. Xiao Yuanshan chuckled and didn't say anything more. Xiao Yuanshan's words made Cheng Menjing instantly heave a sigh of relief. Her heart was bashful and happy. But she was also a little worried that the Cheng family and the Xiao family would have an unhappy relationship in the future. Actually, Xiao Yuanshan was just taking advantage of his words. He was already very happy that Cheng Tianqiu was able to lower his head in front of him. Now, he was just making things difficult for him. In the dining room, Xiao Chen was naturally arranged to sit together with Cheng Menjing. But someone was unhappy. Cheng Menjing? Why are you here? When Xiao saw Cheng Menjing, she instantly frowned. The dense hostility in her eyes made Cheng Menjing a little confused. Oh, it's Xiao. Hello, Happy New Year. Cheng Menjing stood up and gave her blessings with doubt. She thought to herself that it couldn't be because of Cheng Mengqiang's matter, right? The Xiao family has been turned upside down by your Cheng family. How can they be happy? Xiao curled her lips, another typical example of sticking close to my brother after seeing that he has strength. Just like Shen Jingxian. Chapter 696. Cheng Menjing looked at Xiao in astonishment. Xiao didn't pay any more attention to her and sat on the seat that belonged to Cheng Menjing next to Xiao Chen. On the other side of Xiao Chen sat Tang and Yu Xiaochuan. Cheng Menjing didn't have a seat. Xiao, you. Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why was Xiao so hostile to Cheng Menjing? Hey! Sister Menjing, why don't you sit down? Xiao smiled innocently and looked at Cheng Menjing, who was stunned with anger. Xiao Chen, I order you to sit here. Cheng Menjing said and pointed to an empty seat next to her. She was a little exasperated. You have such a bad temper. No wonder my brother likes Shen Jingxian instead of you. Xiao looked at Cheng Menjing with pity. You. Cheng Menjing was furious with Xiao. Forget it, Menjing, you sit here with me. Tang stood up and gave the seat to Cheng Menjing. She didn't care. There were many opportunities to contact with Xiao Chen. She would live in the Xiao family for a period of time, and Cheng Menjing was a guest. I'm fine. Cheng Menjing sat down in disappointment. She was too embarrassed to sit on Tang's seat. She was a little annoyed. Do you think I like to sit next to Xiao Chen? Humph, who cares? Xiao Chen sighed in his heart. He found that Xiao Xiao was not hostile to Tang Tang, but she had a deep grudge against Chen Jingxian and Cheng Menjing. Fortunately, Xiao Yuanshan, Xiao Hai, Cheng Tianxiu, and Cheng Zhongming did not see this scene. They had not sat down yet and were chatting on the sofa at the side of the dining hall. Xiao Xiao, don't talk about Menjing like that. She's actually quite nice, Xiao Chen whispered to Xiao Xiao. Okay? I think she's a silly girl. Xiao Xiao didn't think much of it. On one side was his sister, and on the other side was his fiancée. This put Xiao Chen in a difficult position. Fortunately, they didn't have much interaction. He would return to the villa after Chinese New Year, and Xiao Xiao wouldn't be able to see Cheng Menjing then. Cheng Zhongfan, Cheng Mengqiang, Little Yao, and Yao Baoang returned to the Kuei Mountain sect. They had come in a group, but only 4 were left when they returned, including Cheng Zhongfan and his son. Is everything settled? The one who asked the question was Xiao Yao's master, Zhong Qisheng. He was puzzled as he did not see anyone else. Xiao Tsong, where is your martial uncle Tsong? Didn't they follow you back? Master, I was wrong. Cheng Zhongfan knelt on the ground without another word. Zhong Qisheng was also his master. Zhongfan, what do you mean? Zhong Qisheng was puzzled. Master, martial uncle Tsong, senior brother Qian and senior brother Nangong were all. Cheng Zhongfan paused as he spoke up to this point. He carefully looked at Zhong Qisheng's expression. When he saw that Zhong Qisheng's expression was normal, he said, they've all perished. What? Although Zhong Qisheng was puzzled by Cheng Zhongfan's hesitation, he never expected that 3 experts from the sect would be killed by Xiao Chen. Master, I shouldn't have gone to the secular world to seek marriage for Baoang. That's why this happened. Master, please punish me. Little Yao knelt on the ground. Don't be in a hurry to punish them. Tell me first, what exactly is going on? How is it possible that Xiao Chen is so powerful? Zhong Qisheng felt the world spinning around him. He forced himself to calm down and asked. This matter was too important. He had to figure it out immediately and report it to the sect. Cheng Zhongfan and Little Yao Zi were both witnesses of the 2 battles. The 2 of them quickly reported the situation in full detail, not daring to hide anything. Zhong Qisheng could not be bothered to scold the 2 disciples. He hurriedly went to discuss with the sect's higher-ups. The higher-ups of the Kuei Mountain sect were sitting in the conference room. Although the Supreme Elder was in seclusion, the sect master was present. The sect master of the Kuei Mountain sect was called Ma Qinja. His strength was unfathomable. Sitting beside him was his son, who was also the young sect master of the Kuei Mountain sect. The candidate for the Devil sect master position was, of course, predetermined. His name was Ma Longting. Sitting beside Ma Qinja were a few elders. Zhong Qisheng was one of them. That's how it is. Zhong Qisheng slowly recounted the course of events before saying, Sect leader Ma, please make a decision on this matter. This Xiao Chen actually has such strength? And his lackeys all have their own unique skills? Ma Qinja frowned. We can't blame Zhongfan and Little Yao for this matter. They were just following the sect's instructions to deal with the Xiao family. But in this case, we have to adjust our plan. We can't fight the Xiao family recklessly. Sect Master Ma, what kind of deep hatred does the people behind us have with the Xiao family? Why do we have to deal with the Xiao family? And why don't they do it themselves? Zhong Qisheng was puzzled. This was also the question the other elders wanted to ask. All I know is who they are trying to lure out. As for the specific reason and situation, I don't know either. You should understand that the reason why the Kuei Mountain sect can become the #1 demon sect in the outer martial arts world is because of their help. It's best not to ask about things that we shouldn't know, lest we get into trouble. Ma Qinja's expression changed and he shouted sternly. Yes. Zhong Qisheng quickly nodded. But in this case, how are we going to deal with Xiao Chen? That kid doesn't play by the rules, and the experts around him are also very strange. Even if we send more people, we might still be wiped out. I understand. I will ask them before making a decision. Don't provoke the Xiao family for the time being. Now is the crucial time for the demon sect master election. We don't have the energy or so many experts to waste in the secular world. Ma Qinzhe made the final decision. This matter will come to an end for now. I will ask the people behind me before making a decision. Yes. Zhong Qisheng responded, but then said, but, are we going to forget about Yao Boang's marriage? Isn't that the Qing family? Is it still affected? Ma Qinzhe asked. Here's the thing. Cheng Menjing used to be Xiao Chen's fiancé, and Xiao Chen also warned Cheng Zhongfan to. As he spoke, Zhong Qisheng told the sect master about Cheng Menjing's complicated situation. Why is it so complicated? Ma Qinzhe suddenly frowned. Why didn't you make it clear at the beginning? I didn't know at the beginning either. Zhong Qisheng smiled bitterly. Besides, even if I knew at that time, I didn't think there was any problem. After all, who would have thought that Xiao Chen was a variable? Why don't we tell Xiao Yao to forget about it and find a woman from another family for his son, Baoang? Forget about it? How can we do that? Ma Qinzhe shook his head. If we can't even deal with an aristocratic family in the secular world, how will other sects think of us? We are the #1 demon sect in the outer martial arts world, and we can't even deal with a woman from an aristocratic family in the secular world? Won't we be laughed at? That's true. Although he said so, Zhong Qisheng was criticizing in his heart. Isn't the Xiao family also a secular family? Won't they be laughed at after being killed by Xiao Chen? It's obvious that they are angry at Xiao Chen and have nowhere to vent. Now they want to take it out on the Qing family. He could only bite the bullet and said, but now Xiao Chen has said that he will protect the Qing family. If we insist on doing this, won't we provoke Xiao Chen again? Who knows what that kid will do then? Ma Qinzhe was also a little aggrieved. This Xiao Chen, a small character that he didn't take seriously at all, actually suddenly trembled. Is there a marriage contract? At this time, Ma Qinzhe spoke. Of course there is, but this kind of thing has no binding force after all. Zhong Qisheng said. Elder Zhong, have you forgotten that the marriage contract in the outer martial arts world is protected by the Outer Martial Arts Guild? At that time, we only need to take the marriage contract to the Outer Martial Arts Guild to complain and say that the Qing family did not keep the contract. At that time, the Outer Martial Arts Guild will send people to enforce it. Even if that Xiao Chen has 3 heads and 6 arms, he can't compete with the Outer Martial Arts Guild. Ma Qinzhe smiled and said, at that time, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only will we deal a blow to Xiao Chen, but we can also fulfill the marriage contract without losing face. Young master is wise. Zhong Qisheng's eyes suddenly lit up. How could he forget about the Outer Martial Arts Guild? The so-called Outer Martial Arts Guild was a branch of the Warrior Guild in the Outer Martial Arts world. It belonged to the same system as the Warrior Guild in the secular world. It was responsible for coordinating and supervising all matters in the Outer Martial Arts world. This Outer Martial Arts Guild was formed by the secular world Supernatural Investigation Bureau and some masters in the Inner Martial Arts world. The warrior guild that Xiao Chen met in the Hakonamata Desert was actually under the jurisdiction of the Outer Martial Arts Guild. Of course, for the sake of face, the sects in the Outer Martial Arts world rarely asked for help from the Outer Martial Arts Guild. That was equivalent to asking for help from the Outer Martial Arts Guild because they were not strong enough. They would be looked down upon by the other party. But this time, it was different. This time, the target was the Qing family in the secular world, not the Outer Martial Arts world. In this way, it was equivalent to the Qishan sect exerting pressure to find people to deal with the Qing family. The Qing family would not dare to look down on the Qishan sect at all. Dragonfly's idea is not bad. Zhong Qisheng, bring the victim, Xiao Yao, and his son and immediately go to the Outer Martial Arts Guild to complain. Let the Outer Martial Arts Guild intervene in this matter. Then, let's see what that Xiao Chen will do. At this point, a cold smile flashed across Ma Qing's lips. If Xiao Chen doesn't know what's good for him and kills a few people from the Outer Martial Arts Guild, then there will be a good show. We don't even need to do anything. The Xiao family will be ruined. Master, what a brilliant plan. Zhong Qisheng heard this and immediately laughed. In their opinion, it was impossible for Xiao Chen to understand what kind of existence the Outer Martial Arts Guild was. If he accidentally offended them, hee. Chapter 697. Things were settled in this way. Little Yao took Yao Baoang to the Outer Martial Arts Guild to complain. After the meeting, Ma Jianzhu secretly contacted the sect behind him. Elder Yen, I'm Ma Peja. With the development of technology, the communication method in the martial arts world had also changed from pigeons to real-time phone calls. Sect leader Ma, how's the matter with Xiao Chen? Elder Yen asked. Something happened. I'm going to report this matter to Elder Yen. Ma Peja said carefully. Tell me, did you fail again? Elder Yen asked faintly. It's like this. Ma Peja explained the matter. Although the Kuei Mountain sect seemed to be a little embarrassed, he did not dare to hide anything. With the ability of the sect behind him, it was not difficult to find out the truth. In other words, you can't do anything to Xiao Chen for the time being? Elder Yen asked emotionlessly after listening. Ma Peja's heart skipped a beat. He took a deep breath and said in a low voice, Please forgive me, Elder Yen. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we don't have to kill Xiao Chen to lure that person out. There are still other ways. Elder Yen smiled indifferently. Oh? What other ways? Ma Peja asked quickly. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. From now on, the Kuei Mountain sect will focus on planning for the Outer Martial Arts Devil sect leader election. Don't bother about other things. Elder Yen said in a strange voice. Yes. Ma Peja's heart skipped a beat. He did not dare to say much and nodded in agreement. On the other side, although Elder Yen did not say anything, he did not blame Ma Peja either. This made Ma Peja feel relieved. Although he did not know how the sect behind him could lure that person out, it had nothing to do with him for the time being. Thinking of this, he quickly walked out of the secret room and prepared to discuss with other elders about the Devil sect leader election. Outer Martial Arts Guild. In fact, the Outer Martial Arts Guild was also known as the Warrior Guild to outsiders. However, because the Outer Martial Arts Guild was full of martial masters and martial generals, they preferred to call it the Outer Martial Arts Guild. Calling him a martial artist would mean lowering his status. Vice President Nian, you have to stand up for me. Yao Baoang recounted his bloody history with tears and snot. In his account, the Qing family became shameless people who forsook morality at the sight of profit. Not only did they want to break off the engagement, but they also sought help from the Xiao family to kill several experts from the Quishan sect. Vice President Nian was one of the vice presidents of the External Martial Arts Guild. Now that it was the Spring Festival, he was the vice president on duty. After hearing Yao Baoang's tearful complaint, he did not immediately express his opinion. He wasn't stupid. If the Kuei Mountain sect was going to propose, then so be it. Why did they have to bring so many devil general-level experts along? Wasn't that just idle? He didn't believe that there was nothing going on between you and the Xiao family. Of course, the engagement might be true, but it might not be true with the Xiao family. These words could be heard from both sides. He just said lightly, "Oh, you guys sent the devil generals to the secular world. There is no enmity or grudge between them. If they get into conflict with the secular world and die, it's just because they are not skilled enough. Each side will be punished 50 times, and this matter will be over." Yes, yes. Yao Baoang didn't dare to tell the truth. After all, it was the Kuei Mountain sect who wanted to deal with Xiao Chen. This couldn't be known by outsiders. Moreover, his main purpose wasn't to attack the Xiao family, but the engagement. The marriage contract is here. Vice President Nian, please take a look. Oh, let me see. Vice President Nian took the marriage contract and read it. She didn't find any problems, so she said, okay, in that case, I can accompany you to investigate. If it's true, I'll make the decision to force the Cheng family to fulfill the engagement. Thank you, Vice President Nian. Yao Baoang was overjoyed. He was confident that this marriage contract was real. As long as Vice President Nian supported it, the Cheng family would have to marry off their daughter in the end. Hehe, Cheng Menjiang, who asked you not to dump me? Won't you obediently become my person in bed? Xiao Chen, you fool. Even if you're strong, what's the use of it? Your fiancé is also mine. Well, that's it. Vice President Nian nodded. Vice President Nian, when do you think we should go to the secular world? Yao Baoang couldn't wait. Why? Do I need you to make arrangements for me? Vice President Nian snorted, which gave Yao Baoang a fright. Although not everyone in the External Martial Arts Guild was very strong, and this Vice President Nian was only a third-floor general, because of the involvement of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he had armed forces in his hands. Yao Baoang knew very well that heavy machine guns and rocket launchers were trivial. They could call armored vehicles and bombers with just a phone call. No matter how powerful the Quishan sect was, they were only experts at the demon general level. They were still afraid of these things. I don't dare. Yao Baoang said quickly. Well, my shift ends tonight. Tomorrow morning, I'll go to Songning City. You can go too, but I have to investigate first before making a decision. Vice President Nian said. Okay, then I'll prepare the car and come over early tomorrow morning. Yao Baoang said happily. There's no need for the car. We have a car. Vice President Nian said, let's meet at the Cheng family. Yes. Yao Baoang didn't dare to say more. Then I'll leave first. After Yao Baoang left, Vice President Nian laughed and took out her phone to dial a number. When it was connected, she said, Old Xia, long time no see. Happy New Year. Oh. You're Old Xia. The person who answered the phone was a little surprised. You old man, didn't you just call a few days ago to wish us a Happy New Year? As for meeting. It's difficult for you to come over, right? We're all on the same side. I understand. Isn't there a chance this time? It just so happens that I have a mediation mission. I'm going to the secular world. Songning City, if you're free, come over. Let's get together. Vice President Nian said with a smile, it's been a long time. It's been more than 10 years since I was assigned to the outer martial arts world. Yeah, I didn't expect you to have a mediation mission in the secular world. That's really strange. Old Xia said, I'll make some arrangements here. I'll go over tonight. It just so happens that I have an acquaintance in Songning City. Let's go over and have a meal together. Okay, no problem. Vice President Nian agreed readily. See you tomorrow. The next morning, when the sky was still bright, Vice President Nian drove to the secular world. At the intersection of the highway, she saw a car from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Old Xia, you're quite early. Vice President Nian opened the window and greeted the car. I just arrived too. Old Xia said with a smile, let's go. I've booked a hotel and asked the hotel to prepare a banquet. The two cars drove one after another. Old Xia led the way in front while Vice President Nian followed closely behind. On the way, Old Xia dialed a number and said, Xiao Chen, where are you? I'm in Songning City. An old friend is here. Do you want to come out and have a chat? It turned out that old Xia was the deputy director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, Xia Zhili. He and Vice President Nian were bosom friends. When they were young, both of them were the backbone elites of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. They did missions together and practiced together. However, Vice President Nian was later assigned to the Outer Martial Arts World Guild, and Xia Zhili was promoted step by step. Both of them were far apart and could only rely on the phone to contact each other. Xia Zhili looked for Xiao Chen, so Xiao Chen naturally agreed. He was harassed by Xiao Xiao for a whole night yesterday, which made him feel exhausted. He felt that it was more difficult than fighting with others. Fortunately, Xiao Chen felt a glimmer of a breakthrough in the latter half of the night. Perhaps the life and death battle during the day had made him feel the way. He spent the latter half of the night in the midst of a breakthrough, so Xiao Xiao naturally did not dare to disturb him. However, what made Xiao Chen a little depressed was that although he had successfully become a cultivator at the second level of the foundation establishment stage, all the spiritual jades and spiritual stones that he had obtained in the Hakonamata desert had been taken away. When he woke up in the morning, he felt refreshed. He happened to receive a call from Xia Zhili, so he rushed to the hotel as agreed. "Old Mr. Nian, let me introduce you. This is my right-hand man in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau." Xia Zhili waved at Xiao Chen, who was walking over, and introduced him to Vice President Nian. "Xiao Chen, Deputy Bureau Chief Yang." "What?" Vice President Nian was stunned. Of course, there were 3 reasons why she was shocked. Firstly, this person was called Xiao Chen. Wasn't he the person that Yao Baoang mentioned when he was complaining to her? Secondly, why was this person's surname Xiao, but he was called Deputy Director Yang? What kind of address was this? Thirdly, this person was already the Deputy Director of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Why was he still Xia Zhili's subordinate? Are you confused? His identity in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau is called Yang Jiannan, but his real identity is Xiao Chen. Xia Zhili explained with a smile. He thought that Vice President Nian was shocked because of this. Yang Jiannan? He actually became the deputy director? Vice President Nian was stunned. She knew about Yang Jiannan, but she was a little surprised about Yang Jiannan's promotion. This is a long story. Let's talk about it while we walk. Xia Zhili didn't want to hide it from Vice President Nian. It was obvious that the two of them were very close. When they were young, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that they were friends for life and death. After entering the private room, Xiao Chen automatically took on the role of a waiter and poured tea for the two of them. In Xiao Chen's eyes, Xia Zhili was always a senior that he was indebted to. So, no matter if his ability would surpass Xia Zhili in the future, he would always be respectful to Xia Zhili. And this elder was Xia Zhili's friend. So, Xiao Chen was naturally very respectful to him. After listening to Xia Zhili's story of Xiao Chen's legend, Vice President Nian couldn't help but be amazed. So there are such twists and turns. But old Xia, do you know why I'm here this time? Why? Xia Zhili was stunned. I'm afraid this matter is related to Xiao Chen. Vice President Nian couldn't help but smile bitterly. If I didn't know Xiao Chen and didn't know that you are old Xia's capable subordinate, I'm afraid I wouldn't be in such a difficult position. But now. Chapter 698. Oh. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. Along the way, he already knew Vice President Nian's identity and knew that he was in charge of the disputes of the outer martial arts world. However, he did not expect him to be here for his own matter. He could not help but be a little shocked. Vice President Nian, it seems that I'm not related to the outer martial arts world, right? Yes, Elder Nian, what's going on? Xia Zhili also frowned. The Outer Martial Arts Guild can still interfere with the Supernatural Investigation Bureau of the secular world? You're also from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, right? This, old Xia, you've misunderstood. Our matter this time started because of the Kuei Mountain sect, and the person involved is the secular world's Xiao Chen, not the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Yang Jiannan. Vice President Nian said, actually, the matter is very simple, it's like this. As he spoke, Vice President Nian recounted what had happened. He also mentioned the purpose of his trip, which was to facilitate the marriage. He had no intention of finding trouble with Xiao Chen. It was just that this matter involved Xiao Chen. What? This Yao Baoang is really shameless. How can he say such things? Xiao Chen's face was a little gloomy. He did not expect these people to not let it go after being humiliated. They were so good at stirring up trouble and actually came to the Outer Martial Arts Guild to stand up for them. Vice President Nian, Cheng Menjing is my fiancé. The Cheng and Xiao families have an engagement first. How can it be the Kuei Mountain sect? Oh. There are such twists and turns in this matter? Vice President Nian's face was a little ugly. Yao Baoang did not mention this previously. Xiao Chen, tell me, what exactly is going on? Actually, I have to start from the beginning. I also want Vice President Nian to help me analyze the Kuei Mountain sect's intentions and why they have been secretly targeting our Xiao family. Xiao Chen had long wanted to find someone to find out about the Kuei Mountain sect. This time, Vice President Nian happened to come knocking on his door. How could he miss this good opportunity? Go ahead. Vice President Nian nodded and said, let me see if there is any way to turn this matter around. This has to start from my father's disappearance a long time ago. As Xiao Chen spoke, he told Vice President Nian everything he knew and what he had found out from his investigations. Since this person was Xia Zhili's good friend, he was also someone who could be trusted. Xia Zhili and Vice President Nian listened to Xiao Chen's narration without blinking. Even after Xiao Chen finished, the two of them were still frowning and thinking about the information contained in this matter. If the whole thing was really like this, then it was really too shocking for them. The Kuei Mountain sect had been scheming to deal with a worldly family that had nothing to do with them. A third-rate family, not even a real family. Xiao Chen Xiaolong. If Cheng Zhongfan wasn't a member of the Kuei Mountain sect, then everything he did might have been a scheme to swallow up the Xiao family. However, his current identity meant that he couldn't care less about a small family like the Xiao family. There was something strange about this. Also, Chen Xiaolong wanted to lure someone out, but who could it be? Vice President Nian also thought that the Xiao family did not have anyone to lure out, and the Xiao family did not have any backing from the outer martial world. If that's the case, although it's strange, I have no clue. Vice President Nian said honestly, although I'm the Vice President of the External Martial Arts Guild, I don't know much about the internal affairs of each sect. I really can't guess the purpose of the Quishan sect's actions. It doesn't matter. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. This was something he could guess in advance. After all, the matter was too strange. Then the Cheng family's engagement, I am naturally on your side in this matter. Vice President Nian said, but do you have an engagement document with the Cheng family? I can help you, but I can't go against the principles of the Outer Martial World Guild. Even if I help you, if the Kuei Mountain sect is not satisfied, they can go back and complain to others. Then, things will become more difficult. I understand. Xiao Chen smiled understandingly. Of course, there is an engagement document. It was signed by my father and Cheng Menjing's father. I can take it out. That's good. You also have an engagement document, and the time is before the Kuei Mountain sects. Then, I can help you to make their document invalid. Vice President Nian said. Thank you, Vice President Nian. Xiao Chen said gratefully with his fists clasped. He knew that this was all for Xia Zhili's sake. Otherwise, why would they bother to care about him? Since the Kuei Mountain sect had the document, they could directly determine the validity of the engagement and bypass Xiao Chen. The Outer Martial World Guild naturally had to give some face to the sects in the Outer Martial World. Xiao Chen, go and get the document first. I will go to the Cheng family in a while. We will go together and have a confrontation. Vice President Nian instructed. Okay, I will go back now. Xiao Chen did not dare to delay. He stood up, said goodbye to Xia Zhili, and then hurried out of the private room. When Xiao Chen came back, the two of them were almost done eating. They went to the Cheng family together. In the parking lot of the Cheng family, there were also a few cars parked. Obviously, the people of the Kuei Mountain sect had arrived first. Their people had been waiting here all this time. When they saw the martial arts guild's car, they hurriedly welcomed them. However, when they saw that Xiao Chen was actually among the people who got off the car, Cheng Zhongfan and Little Yao were both stunned. This Vice President Nian, he. Xiao Yao pointed at Xiao Chen in confusion. He did not understand why Xiao Chen was in the same car as Vice President Nian. You said that you have an engagement with the Cheng family. I naturally have to investigate it. However, according to my investigation, this Xiao Chen also has an engagement with Cheng Menjing. There is also an engagement document. What do you say? Vice President Nian asked directly as soon as she got off the car. This. Cheng Zhongfan's face changed. He knew that the Xiao family and the Cheng family also had an engagement document. He did not expect that Vice President Nian would investigate it, and that Xiao Chen would come and interfere. He had an idea and said quickly, Xiao Chen, the Cheng family has broken off the engagement with you. This is known to all. Why are you pestering them endlessly? Yes, Cheng Menjing doesn't want you anymore. How can you be so shameless? Pestering them endlessly or something? Yao Baoang, who had the support of Vice President Nian, also jumped out at this moment. He pointed at Xiao Chen's head and scolded, You are Cheng Menjing's servant. Do you know what a servant is? Do you want to be a toad that wants to eat swan meat? Are you showing off in front of me? Xiao Chen's eyes turned cold. This stupid guy still coveted Cheng Menjing. If there weren't so many people here, Xiao Chen would have slapped him to death. He had just made a breakthrough yesterday, and he was worried that there was no one to practice with. What's wrong with showing off? Are you envious? Do you need me to show off and fly with you? At this moment, Yao Baoang was not afraid of Xiao Chen at all. He was confident that with the people of the External Martial Arts Guild present, Xiao Chen would not dare to do anything to him. Pa! Xiao Chen slapped Yao Baoang and directly sent him flying. He said disdainfully, How dare you show off and fly? Bang! Yao Baoang fell flat on his face. Of course, with Vice President Nian around, Xiao Chen couldn't kill him. He only taught him a lesson and made him look a little pathetic. However, Yao Baoang was flustered and exasperated. He crawled up from the ground and glared at Xiao Chen, Xiao Chen, you dare to make a move? This time, I let you show off and fly. Next time, if you show off in front of me, I will disable you. Xiao Chen's face was full of disdain. What? Do you still want to fight? Do you dare? You. Yao Baoang was so angry that he was fuming. Xiao Chen, how dare you? Cheng Zhongfan pointed at Xiao Chen and said angrily, the vice president of the External Martial Arts Guild is here. Do you not take him seriously? Alright, Yao Baoang was the one who provoked Xiao Chen first and said some nasty words. Xiao Chen didn't kill him either, so let's call it even. Vice President Nian waved her hand and said, if you have any questions, you can complain to me, but don't make personal attacks. Yes. Cheng Zhongfan was so angry that his teeth itched. Although this matter was a punishment for both sides, he was still the one who suffered a loss. However, he did not dare to disobey Vice President Nian's words, so he could only say, the Cheng family and the Xiao family broke off the engagement. This matter is known to everyone. Vice President Nian, please investigate. Oh, is there a document to break off the engagement? Vice President Nian asked. This. No, But there is no need for a document to break off the engagement. Cheng Zhongfan was stunned and quickly explained, the situation at that time was that the Cheng family and the Xiao family broke off. How could the two families sign the document calmly? This is just your side of the story. I'm looking at the evidence. Vice President Nian said, I've looked at both documents. The marriage contract on Xiao Chen's side was dated earlier, so it is judged that the marriage contract signed earlier is valid. The marriage contract between the Xiao family and the Cheng family is valid. The marriage contract between the Quishan sect and the Cheng family is invalid. Do you have any objections? How could this be? Little Yao was stunned. He looked at Cheng Zhongfan and wanted to ask him to think of a solution. Vice President Nian, you are biased. Cheng Zhongfan said with a bitter smile. What do you mean? I'm acting according to the evidence. How dare you say that I'm biased? The two pieces of evidence are placed in front of us. Anyone can see that the Xiao family is in the right. Vice President Nian said resolutely. She directly placed the two marriage contracts on the table for everyone to see. But Cheng Zhongfan looked at the dates on the two marriage contracts and did not know what to say for a moment. Little Yao and Yao Baoang also looked depressed at the moment. Could it be that things are not going to work? Then this time, looking for the outer martial arts guild to stand up for them was really lifting a rock and dropping it on their own feet. It was simply asking for trouble. Oh, right. Cheng Zhongfan looked at the signatures on the two marriage contracts, and his eyes suddenly lit up. According to the rules of the martial arts circle, the validity of a document must be approved by both parties who signed it. If one party has a dispute, this party must show reasonable evidence. Chapter 699. That's right, but the Xiao family and the Cheng family have no objections now. Cheng Zhongming, Cheng Tianxiu, do you have any objections? Vice President Nian asked. No. Cheng Tianxiu and Cheng Zhongming shook their heads. Okay, then Xiao Chen, do you have any questions? Vice President Nian continued to ask. No. Xiao Chen shook his head. That's it. No one has any objections. What else do you have to say? Vice President Nian looked at Cheng Zhongfan and asked. No, what I mean is, on this marriage contract, it was signed by Xiaofeng of the Xiao family and Cheng Zhongming of the Cheng family, but I suspect that Xiaofeng's signature is fake. This is forged by the Cheng family's wishful thinking. Cheng Zhongfan waved his hand and said while shaking his head. What? Cheng Zhongming couldn't help but be furious after hearing it. Cheng Zhongfan, don't talk nonsense. The Xiao family didn't say that it's fake. Why do you have a problem? The Xiao family didn't say it, but it doesn't mean that it's not fake. Cheng Zhongfan said, according to the rules of Wulin, the signatories of both parties who signed the contract must be present at the same time to prove that this document is real. Other people's words don't count. Unless you have evidence to prove that this document is signed by Xiaofeng, otherwise, find him for a confrontation. You. Cheng Zhongming was furious. Don't you know how brother Xiaofeng disappeared? You still have the face to say this. You want to find him? I'm just stating the facts. Cheng Zhongfan didn't care and looked at Vice President Nian. Vice President Nian, the authenticity of this document may have a problem, so I'll ask the Xiao family to show the evidence. Is there any problem? This. Of course not. Vice President Nian didn't expect Cheng Zhongfan to come up with such a move, so he was caught unprepared. This document was signed by Xiaofeng. According to the rules, there was no problem finding Xiaofeng to confront, but Xiaofeng had disappeared. Where could they find him? If that was the case, he would have to pay attention to the doubts of the Cheng family. He couldn't just jump to a conclusion. Moreover, Cheng Zhongfan was a member of the Cheng family. Even if Cheng Tianxiu and Cheng Zhongming had no objections, he couldn't ignore Cheng Zhongfan's objections. This involved the reputation and prestige of the outer martial arts guild. Even if he wanted to help Xiao Chen, he was powerless. He could only look at Xiao Chen in a deep voice and said, "What evidence do you have to prove that this was signed by your father, Xiaofan?" "I have some other handwriting written by my father. We can bring it together for judicial appraisal." On Xiao Chen's side, he also thought of a way to deal with it and said calmly, "In that case, how can you prove that these were written by Xiaofan? Unless you find Xiaofan and let him write a few words personally for appraisal, otherwise, I have reason to suspect that you have been faking it." Without waiting for Vice President Nian to express her opinion, Cheng Zhongfan raised his doubts again. To be honest, Cheng Zhongfan's approach was a bit unreasonable. There was always legal evidence to prove that this document was signed by Xiaofan personally. But the key problem was that the Outer Martial Arts Guild didn't care about these. Many of their customs still retained the ancient traditions. The greatest evidence was the witness. Without the witness, the others could only be regarded as auxiliary evidence. If there is no evidence, then our documents are naturally the most effective. Cheng Zhongfan said, "This has the signature of Cheng Tianqiu and Xiao Yao, so please give us justice, Vice President Nian." Looking at the overbearing Cheng Zhongfan, Vice President Nian felt a headache coming on. He was incomparably furious, but he couldn't say anything to refute. The other party had seized on this point of disagreement and expanded it infinitely, leaving him unable to deal with it for a while. Ahem. Vice President Nian coughed twice and looked at Xiao Chen to see what he would say. Xiao Chen was also a little depressed. He didn't expect Cheng Zhongfan to make an issue of the signature. If he insisted that this was not signed by his father and was fake, then he really couldn't take out any evidence. Even if he took out, he could deny it. After all, his father wasn't present. "May I ask, Vice President Nian, according to the rules of the martial arts circle, must there be a witness?" Xiao Chen didn't say much nonsense and just asked. "This is a must." Vice President Nian nodded and said, "In the martial arts circle, this is the most convincing. People in the martial arts circle pay particular attention to confronting on the spot and questioning face to face, so, speaking of this, Vice President Nian smiled bitterly. He didn't continue, but in fact, he was also hinting to Xiao Chen that he would definitely help if he could help. But now there was no reason to refuse, and he had no other way. Xiao Chen frowned. He didn't expect Cheng Zhongfan to be so difficult to deal with. Looking at his arrogant look, Xiao Chen really wanted to kick him to death. But even if he wanted to give face to Vice President Nian, he couldn't do so. After thinking about it, Xiao Chen said, "In this case, is the opinion of the person involved not important? In the martial arts circle, the orders of parents, family, and masters are more important than anything else." Vice President Nian shook his head and smiled bitterly. "Xiao Chen, if you don't have other supporting evidence, then I will make a judgment on this matter." Cheng Menjing was originally quite happy. Seeing that Xiao Chen took out the marriage contract and dealt a blow to the Quishan sect, and Vice President Nian's words were obviously supporting Xiao Chen, she felt relieved at this moment. She felt that Xiao Chen really had a way to deal with the Quishan sect's tricks again and again. But she didn't expect her second uncle, Cheng Zhongfan, to come up with such a bad move. Cheng Menjing felt very sad. Why did grandma like Cheng Tiannu? Why did she give birth to a traitor like Cheng Zhongfan? As a woman, Cheng Menjing found it hard to understand why a woman would betray her husband in a marriage. She felt that if she was with Xiao Chen, she would be faithful to him and would never have feelings for anyone else. I won't have feelings for Xiao Chen. I'm just giving an example. No matter what, although Cheng Menjing comforted herself in her heart, she was very anxious at the same time. She didn't want to marry Yao Baoang. She might as well die. However, looking at Xiao Chen's helpless look, Cheng Menjing's face turned pale. Was there really no other way? Yes, how could there be any other way? Looking at Cheng Zhongfan's cunning smile, Cheng Menjing was a little resentful. She should have been more ruthless and let Xiao Chen kill him. Vice President Nian, even if I go to find evidence, I need time, right? My father is missing, and I have to find him. Xiaochen suddenly said, I believe you should also understand that this marriage contract is real. It's just that Cheng Zhongfan is nitpicking. Uncle Cheng Zhongming and my Xiao family both approved it, but he insisted on doubting it. So please allow me to find a witness, which is my father. Oh. Vice President Nian was in a dilemma. Hearing Xiao Chen's words, her eyes suddenly lit up and she laughed. That's right, Xiao Chen, you're right. Your contract seems to be real. You just lack a witness. In that case, I'll allow you to find the witness and then make a decision. Thank you, Vice President Nian. Xiaochen cupped his fists and smiled. He was overjoyed in his heart. This was simply a trick of delaying. Anyway, you're letting me find the witness. Why do you care how long I take to find him? If I can't find him forever, you'll have to wait. Sooner or later, you'll die. Vice President Nian, I'm afraid this isn't appropriate, right? Cheng Zhongfan frowned. He thought it was foolproof, but he didn't expect Xiao Chen to come up with such a suggestion. What's inappropriate about it? My judgment is fair and just. Do you have any objections? Do you want to object? Vice President Nian snorted. Of course not. How would I dare to object? On the contrary, I also feel that Vice President Nian's decision is extremely wise. But what I mean is, even if you want to find a witness, there should be a deadline, right? We can't wait forever just because Xiao Chen said so, right? By then, it would be too late. Cheng Zhongfan said with a smile. Xiao Chen's face darkened. He didn't expect this guy to be an old fox. He even guessed his plan. It seemed like the plan wouldn't work. You're right. Let's do it this way. Let's use 3 years as the deadline. If Xiao Chen can't find a witness within 3 years, then the Cheng family will naturally fulfill the marriage agreement with the Quishan sect. Vice President Nian said. Generally, the agreement in the martial arts circle was 3 years. It was the same for martial arts competitions. Therefore, it was reasonable for him to say 3 years. But if it was a little more, it would be a little biased. No one could find fault with it now. Of course, but we have a condition. Although 3 years was a little long, it wasn't impossible. This year, Cheng Menjing was only 19 years old. 3 years later, she would be 22 years old. People in the secular world got married at this age. Therefore, Cheng Zhongfan agreed. What condition? Vice President Nian asked. Cheng Menjing must accompany us back to the sect. Cheng Zhongfan said. How can this be? What if you bring her back and force her? Xiao Chen immediately objected. This definitely won't happen. Our Quishan sect is also a big sect. We still have this bit of credibility. Little Yaozi also stood up at this time and promised resolutely. He felt that this matter could be fought for. Yes, we have evidence now. We can't say that you're looking for evidence. We'll just let it go. This is also a kind of compensation for us. Otherwise, we're afraid that you'll do something desperate and hide Cheng Menjing. Cheng Zhongfan also said. This. Xiao Chen couldn't help but look at Vice President Nian, asking him to make a decision. Xiao Chen, their request isn't too much. The Cheng family can go to the Quishan sect. In the name of the External Martial Arts Guild, if the Quishan sect dares to violate the agreement and touch a single hair of Cheng Menjing, we will punish the Quishan sect. Vice President Nian thought for a moment and said slowly. In fact, he had no other way. It was unreasonable to look for evidence. If the Quishan sect went back and appealed to the External Martial Arts Guild, it might change the verdict. Chapter 700. Therefore, in order to cut the Gordian knot, Vice President Nian had no choice but to satisfy their request. Fortunately, he was supervising this matter. In his opinion, Cheng Menjing would not make any mistakes. The Kuei Mountain sect did not dare to do so. After all, this could anger the outer martial arts guild and damage their reputation. Why would they do such a thing? Although Xiao Chen did not want to agree, he knew that he had to agree when he saw Vice President Nian's expression. This was not a compromise to the Kuei Mountain sect, but a show of respect for Vice President Nian. Since the outer martial arts guild was involved, it was not something that Xiao Chen could change alone. However, Xiao Chen also knew that it all came down to strength. He originally thought that he was already very strong now. Killing a few devil generals through trickery made Xiao Chen's confidence almost burst. However, he calmed down now. Sneak attacks and trickery were not the way to go. If he had the strength to destroy the Kuei Mountain sect now, would the Kuei Mountain sect dare to talk nonsense with him? Even if they had the marriage contract in hand, they would pretend that it did not exist. Strength. Xiao Chen clenched his fists. He had to improve his strength. Fortunately, he had time. In 3 years, Xiao Chen was confident that he could look down on the Kuei Mountain sect and even the outer martial arts world. Alright, I believe you. However, you have to remember that in 3 years, I will be looking for evidence. In these 3 years, I don't want Menjing to be unhappy. Xiao Chen took a deep breath. Suddenly, he felt a sense of loss and reluctance. Was the Missy leaving too? Originally, he thought that he could return to the villa after the new year and resume his previous life of sharing a house. He did not expect that in the blink of an eye, she would be leaving. Xiao Chen could not stop it. Fortunately, Vice President Nian was his guarantor. Otherwise, Xiao Chen would not be at ease to let Cheng Menjing live in the Kuei Mountain sect. At this moment, his heart was filled with a deep sense of unwillingness. Cheng Menjing breathed a sigh of relief. Although she was also a little disappointed, she also knew that this was the best outcome that Xiao Chen could fight for. At the very least, he had delayed it for another 3 years. It didn't matter if she could find Xiaofan within 3 years. Cheng Menjing believed that Xiao Chen would have the ability to take her away from the Quishan sect within 3 years. That would be enough. Alright, if that's the case, I hereby announce that the time limit is 3 years. Within these 3 years, the Cheng family will only stay in the Kuei Mountain sect temporarily. No one is allowed to interfere with her personal freedom or force her to do anything. Violators will be punished by the external martial arts guild, and even the Kuei Mountain sect will be implicated. Vice President Nian announced, Xiao Chen, go find evidence. I have no objections. After Cheng Zhongfan finished speaking, he looked at Xiao Chen and chuckled. Xiao Chen, good luck. I hope you can find Xiaofan within 3 years. Ha ha ha. In Cheng Zhongfan's opinion, Xiao Chen would not be able to find him even if he was given 30 years. Xiaofan had been missing for so long and should have died long ago. Therefore, Cheng Menjing must be a member of the Kuei Mountain sect. He never thought that Xiao Chen would have the ability to shake the Kuei Mountain sect. After all, the power of one person and the power of a sect could not be mentioned in the same breath. I have no objections either. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and said. In that case, Cheng family, pack up your things and follow us back to the Kuei Mountain sect. Cheng Zhongfan said to Cheng Tianxiu with a smile. Cheng Zhongfan, since I've already agreed to your request, I won't go back on my word. However, Menjing and I have lived in the same villa for so long. It's not a big deal for us to have a farewell dinner together, right? You won't disagree, right? Xiao Chen looked at Cheng Zhongfan indifferently. You better not provoke me. Otherwise, who knows what I'll do. You. Cheng Zhongfan felt threatened by Xiao Chen and was instantly enraged. Although Vice President Nian was there, Vice President Nian could only guarantee the smooth implementation of his decisions. As for whether Xiao Chen would play any tricks, it was out of her control. Therefore, Cheng Zhongfan had no choice but to say, of course, go ahead. We'll set off for the sect tomorrow. Let's go, Missy. Xiao Chen waved to Cheng Menjing. Humph, who wants to have a farewell dinner with you? I don't care. Cheng Menjing felt that it was a little embarrassing to be waved away by Xiao Chen. She couldn't help but say, I'm just going to the villa to get something useful. However, in Yao Boang's eyes, he was extremely surprised. It seemed that this was just Xiao Chen's wishful thinking to fulfill the engagement. Cheng Menjing didn't like him at all. Then, his opportunity had come. As long as he launched an attack at the sect, if Cheng Menjing was willing to be with him, then it would not be forced. At that time, he wouldn't have to wait for 3 years. He might even be able to get intimate with her. At that time, even if Xiao Chen found Xiaofan as a witness, and Cheng Menjing had become a broken flower, he wouldn't want her anymore. It would be convenient for him. Cheng Menjing silently followed behind Xiao Chen. After eating the Cheng family dinner, they got into the car. The two of them were a little silent. The atmosphere in the car suddenly became a little cold. Obviously, Cheng Menjing didn't know what to say. At this time of parting, any words would only add to the sadness. I'm sorry. Xiao Chen suddenly said, I couldn't let you stay, it's not your fault. Grandpa was deceived by Cheng Xiaofan, so he signed the engagement document. Cheng Menjing sighed and was a little silent. After a while, she suddenly raised her head and stared at Xiao Chen with her bright eyes without blinking. She asked word by word, Xiao Chen, tell me the truth. Do you really want to fulfill the engagement between the Xiao family and the Cheng family? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Under Cheng Menjing's gaze, he was a little evasive. Yes, do I really want to fulfill the engagement? Do I really like Cheng Menjing? I should like her. Xiao Chen recalled that there was no passion between him and the young lady like there was with Shen Jingxian. There was no sweetness and warmth between him and Tang Tang. There was only a plain and ordinary relationship between him and her. However, thinking about it carefully, Xiao Chen had regarded Cheng Menjing as his woman from the beginning because she was his fiancée. At that time, Xiao Chen thought that this beautiful girl would become his woman no matter what. Therefore, he didn't pay much attention to her, nor did he care that much. He didn't even take the initiative to pursue her. However, when he recalled the time in the villa, the two of them were together day and night. Although there was no passion or sweetness, there was the kind of faint mutual help between a husband and wife. It was true that it was plain. I know. You want to help me. You don't want me to marry into the Quishan sect. Cheng Menjing saw that Xiao Chen was stunned and didn't answer. She couldn't help but laugh at herself. Yes, I am overbearing, willful, unruly, and arrogant. How could Xiao Chen like me? Otherwise, he wouldn't have cheated on me with Shen Jingxian under my nose. He even got together with Yi Xiaoya. And Tang Tang. No, I've always regarded you as my fiancé. Xiao Chen turned to look at Cheng Menjing. He no longer evaded her gaze and said solemnly, Menjing, I'm sorry. I admit that I hurt you a lot by pursuing Shen Jingxian in front of you. This is not what a fiancé should do. Therefore, after I became your servant, I tried my best to make it up to you. However, at that time, I thought that I had lost you, so I could only silently protect you. However, after that, I gained strength. I used Xiao Chang's identity to win Grandpa Cheng's approval and made you my fiancé once again. At that moment, I was so happy. Only then did I understand that I had always treated you as my. You make it sound so disgusting. Who wants to be your fiancé? Let me tell you, I just feel that the engagement was made by Uncle Xiao. Now that he is gone, we should abide by it as juniors. Don't think that I like you. I won't. Cheng Menjing snorted, but she suddenly felt inexplicably happy in her heart. Give Bei Bei a call and tell her that we are waiting for her at the villa for dinner. Hee, okay. Xiao Chen picked up the phone with a smile. Although he was a little sad, he pretended that nothing had happened. However, on the other side of the phone, there was a notification that the phone was turned off. Xiao Chen was a little surprised. Menjing, Beibei's phone is turned off. Turned off? Cheng Menjing was also very puzzled. Maybe it ran out of battery and went to charge it? This girl is always too lazy to charge it. Send her a text message. She may see it when she turns it on later. Xiao Chen nodded and sent a text message. He told her that he and Cheng Menjing had gone to the villa and asked her to come over when she saw the text message. The car stopped at the door of the villa. When the familiar door opened, they saw Yi Xiaoya lying on the sofa lazily and watching TV. She was holding a super invincible dog in her arms. If it were any other time, Cheng Menjing would definitely mock Yi Xiaoya. However, now that they were leaving, she didn't have the mood to do so. Instead, she felt a little reluctant. Hey! Xiao Chen, Menjing? Why are you back? It's not the end of the new year? Yi Xiaoya saw the two of them and was a little puzzled. Nothing, Xiaoya. I'm leaving. I came back to have a meal with you. Cheng Menjing said with some melancholy. In the future, in the villa, no one will quarrel with you. What do you mean? You are leaving too? Yi Xiaoya was stunned and looked at Cheng Menjing in disbelief. You are not lying to me, right? Today is not April Fool's Day, right? Why would I lie to you? Who else is leaving? You are leaving too? Cheng Menjing asked a little impatiently. Beibei came back last night and said that he was leaving. He asked me to give you this letter. As Yi Xiaoya said this, she picked up an envelope from the coffee table and handed it to Cheng Menjing. So, I was surprised when you said that you were leaving too. What? Beibei left? Where did she go? Cheng Menjing was suddenly shocked. She took the envelope and said in disbelief. I don't know. She didn't tell me. She just said that you would know after reading this letter. She would tell me then. Yi Xiaoya shrugged and said, she left in a hurry yesterday and didn't have time to talk to me. Chapter 701. Cheng Menjing was greatly alarmed after hearing that. Did something happen to Beibei? Recalling that Xiao Chen's phone was turned off when he called earlier, Cheng Menjing hurried to open the envelope. There was only one piece of paper inside. Cousin Menjing, cousin-in-law, Beibei is leaving. Don't worry. In fact, Beibei is going to the mountain to learn martial arts. Grandpa is already a general. So, according to the rules of the sect, he is not allowed to stay in the mortal world. Therefore, our family has moved to the Heavenly Spring sect, where Grandpa is from. Don't worry. As an external disciple, Beibei will be back in 3 years. He won't run into any trouble in the sect. After all, Grandpa will take care of him. You don't need to miss Beibei, and you don't need to visit him. After all, as an external disciple, outsiders are not allowed to visit him. Beibei has some work to do every day, too. In 3 years, when you and your cousin-in-law are both grown up, you will be able to get married. Beibei will go back to attend your wedding. Alright, time is limited. Let's not talk about it anymore. Grandpa is afraid that the sect will blame him. So, he took me away overnight. So, you don't need to look for me anymore. I will certainly contact you after I settle down. Rich Jean Beibei. Ow. Ow. Reading the content of the letter, Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing found it hard to accept it. Jean Beibei had left just like that? Why would she leave just like that? But sometimes, things were just so unexpected. For other people, Cheng Menjing had left just like that, too. In fact, Xiao Chen vaguely guessed something. Yesterday, the gold fur lion suddenly helped him and revealed his capability as a general. As a result, his capability had been exposed. If the so-called rules of the sect were true, he had to return to the sect as soon as possible. I didn't expect that. Beibei would leave just like that. Cheng Menjing was silent for a long time before she said gloomily, Xiao Chen, I feel like I'm dreaming. I feel that everything is a dream, and Bei Bei and I are back after I wake up. But I don't think so. Yes, no. Xiao Chen nodded. Bei Bei, I chose to leave because of old Master Jin's help. Yesterday, Martial Uncle Tsong of the Kuei Mountain sect attacked with Little Yao. If it wasn't for old Master Jin's intervention, you might not have seen me. So, it's not wrong to say that I left because I wanted to leave. No, it's all because of me. If not for me, why would the Kuei Mountain sect look for you? Cheng Menjing shook her head. Grandpa Jin is helping you in name, but he's actually helping me. Let's not discuss this issue. Xiao Chen waved his hand and said, Cheng Xiaofan has wanted to deal with me for a long time. He has never given up. However, it seems that Bei Bei is not in any danger. I can rest assured about this. Yes. Cheng Menjing nodded. Jin Bei Bei was different from her. She went to the Kuei Mountain sect with an awkward identity, but Jin Bei Bei was an ordinary outer disciple. It's actually a good thing that all of you left. After the new year, I have to return to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau often. I've taken over Yang Jiannan's identity, so I have to be frequently assigned tasks. So, I can't return to the villa often. Xiao Chen comforted her. Pfft, who cares? Do you think I'm staying here because of you? You're so full of yourself. Cheng Menjing snorted. Hurry up and cook. I'm hungry. Hee, okay. Xiao Chen nodded and went to work. During this time, Yi Xiaoya didn't interrupt them. Instead, she listened quietly and didn't seem to understand. During the meal, Yi Xiaoya finally understood that it was because of the Kuei Mountain sect. Hearing the 3 words, Kuei Mountain sect, Yi Xiaoya could not help but be silent. Xiao Chen, although you're a disciple of the Devil Star sect, you can't compete with the Kuei Mountain sect. They are the top demonic sect in the outer martial arts world. I know. I'm just a little unwilling. Xiao Chen sighed. But during the day, although I'm unwilling, I still have to give face to Vice President Nian. Then, are you really going to find your father? Yi Xiaoya asked. Are you confident that you can find your father within 3 years? No. Xiao Chen shook his head and said, I'll definitely find my father, but I won't entrust this kind of thing to this kind of unknown thing. Let's see. I have some plans. Xiao Chen, don't do anything rash. Cheng Menjing was shocked after hearing Xiao Chen's words. Since Xiao Chen did not intend to find his father to solve the problem of the Kuei Mountain sect, did that mean he wanted to fight head-on? But how could Xiao Chen be his opponent? If Xiao Chen died because of her, then Cheng Menjing would rather stay in the Kuei Mountain sect. Previously, Xiao Chen was chased out of the family because of his uncle, Cheng Zhongqian. Although it was not because of Cheng Menjing, it was more or less related. At that time, Cheng Menjing felt guilty. Otherwise, she would not have secretly taken care of and protected Xiao Chen. Now that she heard that Xiao Chen might do something impulsive, she immediately became a little nervous. Although she usually acted as if she was superior and did not put Xiao Chen in her eyes at all, in fact, deep in her heart, Cheng Menjing still felt that she owed Xiao Chen a lot. It was the Cheng family that owed him, which meant that Cheng Menjing owed him, because she was also a member of the Cheng family. Xiao Chen had repaid evil with good and had already helped the Cheng family too much. How could she ask Xiao Chen to take risks because of her? How could she face Uncle Xiaofan? Cheng Menjing did not want to, and she was even more unwilling to do so. Therefore, she would rather be wrong than let Xiao Chen do it by force. The current development of the matter had obviously exceeded the scope of Xiao Chen's ability. Even if she had confidence in Xiao Chen, with the involvement of the External Martial Arts Union, Xiao Chen had to give them face. This was not just a matter of the Quishan sect. Don't worry, I won't act recklessly. Xiao Chen said with a smile, if I die, won't you be a widow? You're so annoying. Cheng Menjing glared at Xiao Chen. You're still joking at this time? I'm not joking. You're my fiancé. I can't not care. Don't think too much. It's okay. Xiao Chen said with a smile, but he secretly made a decision in his heart. Previously, with Vice President Nian in front of him, it was not easy for Xiao Chen to complete the plan. Now that he had calmed down, a set of plans had already formed in Xiao Chen's mind. However, whether it could be useful or not, he could only leave it to fate. Do your best and leave it to fate. Some things were different from not doing it. At least, Xiao Chen had to work hard to have a clear conscience. Menjing, I have a suggestion. Do you want to hear it? Yi Xiaoye suddenly said. Cheng Menjing looked at Yi Xiaoye with some surprise. What kind of suggestion would she give her? Didn't this girl always disagree with her before? Since it's a foregone conclusion that you'll go to the Quishan sect, I think you can practice the mantra and become a diabolical cultivator while protecting yourself. Yi Xiaoye said, you're going to marry Yao Baoang in the future, so if you want to practice, they will only be happier. They will think that you've given up and don't think highly of Xiao Chen, so they will be very supportive of you. Cheng Menjing nodded, not really understanding. However, Yi Xiaoye's suggestion seemed to be really good, so she still said, Xiao Chen said he'll take me away. I know that. Yi Xiaoye didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why are you so silly? Of course I know he can take you away, but you stayed there for 3 years. Did you just stay there for 3 years? You used his resources to practice, and then you can help Xiao Chen in the future. If you become a master diabolical cultivator, you won't have to worry about bringing trouble to Xiao Chen anymore. Instead, you'll become his helper. Do you understand? Yes, yes. Cheng Menjing's eyes lit up. She understood. Also, I suggest that you try to choose the mantra that only first ladies can practice. By the way, did Xiao Chen reject you? Yi Xiaoye suddenly looked at Cheng Menjing with a faint smile, sizing her up. Ah. How? How is that possible? I'm not that easy to reject. Cheng Menjing was embarrassed. Her face turned red, and she was a little embarrassed. Why did you choose this? What little Yi means is that Yao Baoang has feelings for you. Although there's the supervision of the Outer Martial Arts Guild, it's hard to guarantee that he won't be overwhelmed by his lust. You're practicing this mantra, which is equivalent to adding an extra layer of protection. Before the mantra is completed, he can't touch you, and the sect won't allow him to do so. Xiao Chen explained. That's right. The Quishan sect is the #1 diabolical sect in the outer martial arts world. They have many mantra, so they should have it. At least you'll be much stronger there than in the Devil Star sect, and your strength will improve faster. Yi Xiaoye nodded. I see. Cheng Menjing was a little embarrassed when she heard the words, overwhelmed by his lust, but she still agreed. She thought to herself, if I don't succeed, will Xiao Chen also not be able to touch me? Who cares? I won't let him touch me. Humph, if he wants to touch me, he can touch Shen Jingxian. In fact, if you think about it from another perspective, it's a shortcut for you to embark on the road of devil cultivation. With the level of the Cheng family, it's absolutely impossible for them to provide you with these superior conditions. With all due respect, although you're Xiao Chen's fiancé, whether you're a martial cultivator or a devil cultivator, your lifespan will also increase when your strength improves. Without strength, you'll soon grow old, while Xiao Chen is still in the prime of his life. How can you two be together? I'm afraid that at that time, Shen Jingxian and I will accompany him, or maybe Jin Beibei. You can only stand aside. Yi Xiaoye said ruthlessly. Unexpectedly, this time, Cheng Menjing didn't refute Yi Xiaoye's responsibility and sarcasm. Instead, she was lost in thought and seemed to have heard it all. After a while, she nodded heavily and made up her mind, I'll practice hard. Xiao Chen, you don't have to worry about me. Thank you, little Yi. You were always against me before, but I didn't expect that you would give me some useful advice at the critical moment. Chapter 702. Quarreling is one thing. You can continue quarreling after you finish your studies. However, we are good friends after all. We should work together when it comes to external affairs. Yi Xiaoya shrugged. Well. Cheng Menjing smiled. She knew that Yi Xiaoya also had feelings for Xiao Chen, but she wasn't angry. Instead, she felt that Yi Xiaoya was more sincere. It's getting late. Menjing, I'll send you back. It's not a good time to make trouble now. Xiao Chen cleaned up the tableware on the table and said to Cheng Menjing, Vice President Nian is still here. We have to give him face. Okay. Cheng Menjing had made up her mind, so the knot in her heart was untied. She was not so resistant to going home. After saying goodbye to Yi Xiaoya, Xiao Chen drove Cheng Menjing back to the Cheng family. However, at the door of the Cheng family, Xiao Chen said, Menjing, I won't go in. You can go back by yourself. It will only make it more awkward if I go. Okay. Cheng Menjing sighed. She was also afraid that Xiao Chen couldn't help but fight with Xiao Yao again. If that happened, the loss would outweigh the gain. Goodbye. Tomorrow, will you send me off? All right, I'll do it. Xiao Chen nodded. Okay. Cheng Menjing turned around and strode into the Cheng family. Looking at her back, Xiao Chen didn't leave immediately. Instead, he stepped on his flying sword and wandered around the Cheng family's mansion. Soon, Xiao Chen landed in an independent courtyard. Looking at the two vague figures in the villa's hall, he couldn't help but sneer. This was where Xiao Yao and Yao Baoang stayed. Xiao Chen lay on the edge of the villa and listened to the conversation inside. Damn it, Nian is really good at stirring up trouble. Is he biased? Yao Baoang complained with some resentment, if it weren't for him, it would have been a good thing. Now we have to wait for another 3 years. You can't say that. In order to ensure fairness, the Wulin Guild must investigate in advance before making a conclusion. The Xiao family did have an engagement with the Cheng family before, so it became a place of wrangling. Fortunately, senior brother Cheng was quick-witted and made up the excuse of a witness. This is also in our Wulin. If it were in the secular world, this reason would not be tenable. Little Yaozi waved his hand and said, Heh, others might not know about that Xiaofan, but how could we not know? After being schemed against by the sect, they would have long died somewhere. How could they find them? So what if you drag it out for 3 years? Won't Cheng Menjing still be yours by then? And you don't have to worry. Your purpose is just to confuse the sect and make them think that you don't fight for anything. That's enough. Alas, it was like this at first, but now when I see Cheng Menjing, I feel a fire in my lower abdomen. She's so beautiful, so beautiful. Speaking of this, Yao Boang's eyes flashed with a touch of intoxication, now I can't wait to bear it for a while. Little Yaozi sighed and said, now that the Wulin Guild has intervened, even if we are the #1 devil sect in the Wulin Guild, we can't openly violate it. Heh, it's naturally impossible to openly violate it, but when Cheng Menjing comes to our Quishan sect, isn't it still up to us? At that time, we will give her some medicine, and then she will take the initiative. It has nothing to do with us. Yao Baoang smiled and said sinisterly. Of course it's up to you. Little Yaozi also laughed. Scum. Xiao Chen clenched his fists. It seemed that his risky plan was correct. If he let Cheng Menjing go to the Quishan sect, then little Yaozi and his son would probably pretend to agree but oppose him in secret. At that time, he would have no place to reason with them. Even if he had the strength, what could he do if he killed them? Yi Xiaoya's suggestion was indeed correct. Even if he did not succeed, if Cheng Menjing really did according to Yi Xiaoye's suggestion, she could still keep her chastity. Xiao Chen didn't have the slightest confidence in a head-on clash against a devil master at the peak of the 10th layer and a devil general at the peak of the 1st layer, but he quietly instructed a little demon to wait for an opportunity to act. Then, Xiao Chen directly rushed into the villa. The door of the villa was not locked at all, and little Yao Zi and his son did not believe that any thieves could break in. Of course, they were not afraid even if they broke in. "Who is it?" Little Yao Zi heard the movement and shouted. Although their previous conversation did not involve any secrets, it was still disrespectful to the external martial arts guild. If it was spread out, it would not be good. "You are so shameless. You actually thought of such a despicable method." Xiao Chen pointed at little Yao Zi and his son angrily and scolded with his whole body trembling. I was wondering who it was. It turns out to be Trash Xiao." When Yao Baoang saw that it was Xiao Chen, he immediately laughed mockingly. "So what? Are you going to bite me? Do you dare? Don't forget that Vice President Nian is still here." Yao Baoang could be said to be fearless. Although Xiao Chen's strength was relatively abnormal, so what? This matter was decided by the External Martial Arts Guild. Xiao Chen did not dare to do anything to them. At this moment, little Yao Zi was also calm and unruffled. He looked at Xiao Chen indifferently. "Don't say so much useless stuff. I have the marriage contract in hand. If you are capable, find a witness. If not, leave quickly. For the sake of Vice President Nian, I will not kill you." Little Yao Zi also trembled. He knew that Xiao Chen did not dare to make a move here, so he deliberately said so. In fact, he was afraid that Xiao Chen would make a move. But he knew that Xiao Chen did not dare to make a move. Sure enough, Xiao Chen was so angry that his chest was heaving, but there was nothing he could do. "Good, very good. You will get what you deserve. I will definitely find a way to find my father to prove the authenticity of this marriage contract." Go. Who touched me?" Little Yao Zi was stunned. He felt that his body was touched a few times. When he turned his head, there was no one behind him. "Don't interrupt." Xiao Chen sneered in his heart, but on the surface, he snorted and said, "Don't change the subject. I will definitely find a way to stop it. You don't have to be happy too early. Do whatever you want." Yao Baoang looked at Xiao Chen, who was almost going crazy, sympathetically. However, he also felt that his body was touched a few times. He frowned and said, "Dad, did you touch me just now? Are you two okay? Are you trying to change the subject? Okay, then do whatever you want. I'm leaving. See you later." Xiao Chen turned around and walked out of the villa angrily. However, he was overjoyed in his heart. These two fools were so unvigilant. They couldn't be blamed for their low vigilance. It was because Xiaoma came and went without a trace. After touching them, she hid under the sofa. They couldn't see her even if they were beaten to death. Moreover, their attention was on Xiao Chen. In their opinion, Xiao Chen definitely wouldn't dare to do anything to them here, so they weren't vigilant. Otherwise, Xiao Chen wouldn't have succeeded so easily. One had to know that these two were not ordinary people. They were 10th stage Great Perfection Devil Masters and 1st stage Peak Martial Generals. If they used even a little bit of devil chi to protect themselves, Xiao Chen's plan would have failed. However, under this favorable environment, these two people still fell for it. Xiao Chen didn't leave. Instead, he lay under the window of the villa again and listened to the movements inside. This Xiao Chen is really king idiot. He's looking for trouble. Yao Baoang shook his head. He's probably at the end of his rope. He has no other tricks, so he came to take advantage of us. Little Yao smiled and said, "Let's not care about him. Let's rest early and return to the sect tomorrow morning." Yes. Yao Baoang nodded. Suddenly, he felt the heat in his lower abdomen become more intense. He immediately frowned. The desire was growing, and it seemed to be out of control. On the other side, little Yao also had a reaction. His whole body was hot, and a hint of lust flashed in his eyes. He said, "Baoang, I heard that the bathing center in the secular world has that kind of special service. Let's go and take a look together." It turned out that when Xiaomao was playing tricks just now, she had sprinkled some of the medicine that Yang Jiannan had asked Xia Li to steal from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's warehouse in the room. Although it wasn't as effective as consuming it, there was still some effect when it turned into powder and was inhaled into the body. This. Yao Baoang hesitated for a moment, but said, "Forget it. The mental cultivation method I cultivate is quite special. I must have an obsession to pursue. Now, my obsession is to push down Cheng Menjing. This is my first goal. I can't give up halfway. If I release my inner demon on other women, I will give up halfway. I must endure it. When the day comes, my state of mind will also improve by leaps and bounds. Alright, then I'll go first." Little Yao couldn't wait any longer. He ran out of the villa quickly and called Cheng Zhongfan as he ran. Yao Baoang, on the other hand, went to the bathroom. He planned to take a cold shower to calm himself down. Looking at the actions of the father and son, Xiaochen secretly cursed Yao Baoang for being too troublesome. "Damn it, what inner demon? Why are you so troublesome? What the f***ck? Everything that had been planned was ruined by you." Xiaochen was really angry. Everything went smoothly before, and Xiaomao didn't disappoint him. Who would have thought that this Yao Baoang cultivated a **t mental cultivation method? He even wanted to form an obsession in his heart. This made Xiaochen really speechless. But fortunately, Xiaochen still had a backup plan. He could only leave unwillingly. When he returned to the Xiao family, it was already late at night with stars. Xiaochen pushed open the door with some physical and mental exhaustion, but he saw Xiao lying on his bed reading a book. When she saw him, she put down the book and reached out, "Brother, hug." "Xiao, why aren't you sleeping yet?" Xiaochen looked at the time. It was already midnight. "I'm waiting for you." Xiao said bitterly, "If you don't come back, I'm afraid. I can't sleep, there's no sound of firecrackers anymore." "Why are you still afraid?" Xiaochen was a little inexplicable. "I'm afraid that something will happen to you. I also heard about what happened to the Cheng family. I'm afraid that you will fight with them, but I don't dare to look. I'm afraid that I will cause you trouble." Xiao's little face was a little pale. "Brother, is Menjing leaving?" Chapter 703. I'm going to the Quishan sect. Xiaochen sighed and looked a little disappointed. It was a good plan, but Yao Baoang was the one who ruined it. "Then, are you just going to let it go, or do you have another way?" Xiao asked. "I definitely won't let it go." Xiaochen shook his head. "Brother, is it worth it? Cheng Menjing didn't like you before. When you broke off the engagement, she didn't say anything. If something happens to you because of her, What about the Xiao family?" Xiao was a little anxious. "This kind of woman isn't worth your effort. I think you should just forget it and let her marry into the Quishan sect." "Doesn't that mean your brother doesn't have a wife?" Xiaochen smiled. "Don't worry, I won't mess around. If you don't have one, then so be it. I'll be with you." Xiao was reluctant. "When you're with them, don't you also kiss and hug?" "I can do it too." "How can that be the same?" Xiaochen glared at Xiao. "I can have children with them." "Can you?" "I can too." Xiao said indignantly. "Give birth to a fool?" Xiaochen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "How can that be? We're both so smart." Xiao muttered. You wasted your biology class. Xiao Chen didn't know if Xiao really didn't understand or just said it out of anger. I didn't waste my time. I'm good at it. Anyway, I think there's no problem. From a scientific point of view, there's no problem, Xiao said. Alright, let's not talk about this. Xiao Chen was a little depressed. He didn't want to discuss this awkward topic. Instead, he said, Xiao, Menjing is actually quite good. When I was in trouble, she even gave me money, I gave her money too. Xiao said. She even took me in. Xiao Chen could only continue. That's what my dad and Uncle Cheng said. Xiao said again. Okay, you're good too. I didn't deny it. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. I mean, Menjing is also good. I'm sleepy. I want to sleep. Xiao didn't want to argue anymore. She could tell that Xiao Chen liked Cheng Menjing a lot, so she didn't want to argue anymore. I'm fine now. Shouldn't you go back to your room to sleep? There are no firecrackers today. Xiao Chen said. I don't want to move anymore. I'm already naked. It's such a cold day. If I go out, I'll freeze to death. Xiao yawned. I'm sleepy. Brother, you come up too. I want to see Tang tonight. Xiao Chen said honestly. Menjing is leaving, and you still want to do something messy with Tang. How can you be like this? Are you worthy of Menjing? Xiao was a little annoyed. Xiao Chen looked at Xiao incredulously. She was just complaining about Cheng Menjing. Why did she suddenly speak up for her? Anyway, you're not allowed to go. I can do whatever you want to do. Xiao said. How can I do it with you? Xiao Chen had a headache. If you don't want to do it, then go to sleep. Xiao said and turned off the lamp on the bedside. Xiao Chen had no choice but to sit next to Xiao and continue to practice. Otherwise, this girl would definitely pester him to hug her. However, Xiao Chen really couldn't hug her. Xiao wore too little. Even if they were biological siblings, he would feel guilty. He didn't know whether Xiao really didn't care or she had other thoughts. Xiao Chen always felt that Xiao's words revealed something, but he didn't want to think too much about it. In his opinion, Xiao should be a reasonable person and wouldn't think about those unethical and muddled things. In the dark, Xiao Chen could see things clearly as if it was daytime. Looking at Xiao's delicate and beautiful face, he couldn't help but sigh. When he was a child, the bun-faced girl who followed him and wanted to hug him had grown into a slim and beautiful girl. He couldn't face Xiao with the way he thought when he was a child. Now Xiao had her own ideas, but he couldn't force her to change anything. Xiao Chen didn't understand why Xiao was so hostile to Cheng Menjing and Shen Jingxian. On the contrary, it seemed that Xiao didn't have such a big conflict with Tang. It was impossible that Xiao didn't want him to find a girlfriend. At least Tang obviously treated him differently. Was it just because, as she said, when he was down and out, only Tang was with him wholeheartedly, while Shen Jingxian and Cheng Menjing were with him because he had the strength? In fact, Xiao Chen knew it wasn't like this. In the past, he was a complete hedonistic idiot. It would be strange if Shen Jingxian liked him. She didn't understand him at all. Was it possible for a girl who didn't understand him to fall in love with him? In fact, Miss Cheng was the same. What he did to her was even more excessive. He pursued Shen Jingxian in front of her and claimed that Lin was his lover. Which fiancé could stand this kind of behavior? Therefore, Xiao Chen didn't think that they despised the poor and loved the rich. In fact, the previous situation was caused by him alone. However, it seemed that the sister and sister-in-law would never get along. It seemed that this was the truth, brother. I'm scared. In the dark, Xiao seemed to have a nightmare. Her body curled up a little and she muttered to herself. Xiao Chen sighed, patted Xiao gently, and comforted her. It's okay, I'm here, nothing happened that night. Early the next morning, Xiao Chen came to the Cheng family. Of course, he was going to watch the show. On the way, he asked an little demon, "Are you sure there's no problem with what you did yesterday?" "Of course there's no problem. Boss, don't you believe me?" An little demon was a little proud. Previously, an little demon had sent Su Chuxia and Tian Wangshou back to Lan City. When he found that there was nothing wrong, he came back to look for Xiao Chen. It just so happened that Xiao Chen lacked helpers, so he left him behind. Well, there's no news. Xiao Chen drove the car into the Cheng family, but he immediately found that something was wrong. Because the Cheng family was shrouded in a cloud of haze, and everyone was in a hurry. Xiao Chen parked the car at the door of the living room and saw that there were already many people standing inside. In the middle of the crowd, there was a coffin. The person inside was, unsurprisingly, little Yao. He. Xiao Chen almost laughed out loud. It's over, he's dead. Today seems to be a very happy day. Why is everyone so happy? Is something good about to happen? Xiao Chen walked into the living room and said happily, "Oh, I know. Menjing doesn't have to go anymore, right?" "Xiao Chen, what do you mean? My father is dead, and you're so gloating?" Yao Boang's eyes were already red from crying. At this time, when he heard Xiao Chen's sarcastic words, he suddenly became furious. He jumped up and pointed at Xiao Chen, F***CKU. "If you have the guts, fight me one-on-one." Boom! Xiao Chen directly kicked Yao Baoang away. For Xiao Chen, who had never seen his mother since he was a child, Yao Boang's words happened to hit his sore spot. Yao Baoang screamed. He didn't expect Xiao Chen to really dare to attack. Of course, Xiao Chen dared to attack. He was still a little afraid of little Yao, but in his eyes, Yao Baoang was a complete piece of trash. Although it was not easy to kill him, it was not difficult to plot to kill him. "Xiao Chen, how dare you make a scene in the morning hall?" Cheng Xiaofan glared at Xiao Chen angrily. "Do you know the consequences of going against the Qishan sect?" "Yes, I do. Isn't it against the Xiao family? Haven't you always been against them?" Xiao Chen curled his lips and said lightly, "Or, if I don't go against them, you will stop." "You?" Cheng Xiaofan was speechless. Indeed, whether Xiao Chen went against the Qishan sect or not, they had always been against Xiao Chen. "I heard that little Yao went out to find a woman, and in a moment of excitement, he played himself to death. Sigh, it's really tragic. Although you may be sad, I am still very happy." Xiao Chen smiled and said, "Vice President Nian, according to what Cheng Xiaofan said, this marriage contract was signed by little Yao, but now that he is dead, there are no witnesses. Does this mean that the marriage contract is invalid?" This. Vice President Nian was stunned. She did not think of this. After hearing Xiao Chen's reminder, she immediately frowned. According to Cheng Xiaofan's theory yesterday, it was really possible. Bullsh***t. Cheng Xiaofan rolled his eyes and jumped out, shouting, "Yesterday, before little Yao died, he had already confirmed the authenticity of this marriage contract. This is obvious to all, and Vice President Nian was also there. Xiao Chen, are you trying to lie through your teeth? Is it because you can't find a witness that you are distorting the facts to deliberately make things difficult? These are two different things. Although little Yao is dead, he has already confirmed it yesterday, and Vice President Nian has also witnessed this. However, your father, Xiaofan, has not confirmed it. How can this be the same?" A murderous look flashed across Xiao Chen's eyes. This Cheng Xiaofan was really a meticulous person. He could even make an issue out of the loophole in this. This was indeed what Xiao Chen was planning. If he could get rid of little Yao and Yao Baoang yesterday, then the marriage contract would naturally be invalid. After all, Yao Baoang was already dead, so why would there be a marriage contract? However, Yao Baoang was not dead, and he had a backup plan, which was the death of little Yao, the witness today. However, he did not expect Xiaofan to be so good at quibbling. However, Vice President Nian could not lie through her teeth. He was sure of this, so he was not afraid that Xiao Chen would make an issue of little Yao's death. Taking a deep breath, Xiao Chen clenched his fists. Actually, he had another move that he had considered for a long time. That was to transform into his father, Xiaofan, and then appear here to confirm that the marriage contract between the Cheng family and the Xiao family was valid. However, he suppressed this idea in the end because it was too dangerous. If he did that, not only would he not achieve his goal, but he would also be targeted by the Qishan sect. Moreover, he would also be hindered, causing Cheng Tianxiu to truly lean towards the Qishan sect. After all, if Xiaofan appeared, then where was Cheng Zhongqian? If Cheng Tianxiu asked him, how would he answer? Since he could come back, why couldn't Cheng Zhongqian? Chapter 704. If he could not reveal Cheng Zhongqian's whereabouts, it would be equivalent to confirming the rumor that he harmed his teammates. By then, Cheng Tianxiu would be instigated by Cheng Zhongfan to truly side with the Qishan sect, and there would be no turning back. Of course, this was only one of the problems. More importantly, Xiaofan had appeared. Why didn't Xiao Chen appear? Could it be that he had something to attend to and had to leave? Was that possible? Was it believable? Even if everyone believed him at the time, they would definitely discover the problem in retrospect. Moreover, after Xiaofan appeared, he could not possibly disappear, right? Unless Xiao Chen continued to pretend to be Xiaofan, but that was impossible. Once Xiaofan disappeared again, the Qishan sect would definitely be suspicious. At that time, many of Xiao Chen's secrets might be exposed. Therefore, unless there was no other choice, or if Xiao Chen had gone mad, he would not resort to this. Fortunately, Yao Boang's Shenshui acupoint was already affected. If Cheng Menjing really followed Yi Xiaoya's suggestion and chose the mantra that only a virgin could cultivate, Yao Baoang could only endure it. When he reached his limit, he would find a random woman to vent it on, and then he would reach the end of his life. I was just joking. Why are you so agitated? Idiot. Xiao Chen glanced at Cheng Zhongfan. Humph. Cheng Zhongfan said coldly, Xiao Chen, don't think we're afraid of you. Vice President Nian is here. You're not welcome here. We're going back to the Qishan sect with junior brother's coffin. I'm here to send Menjing off. Do you think I'm sending you off? How shameless, Xiao Chen said in disdain. Are you done? Hurry up and leave. Cheng Zhongfan said angrily. Oh, Menjing, take care. Xiao Chen glanced at Cheng Menjing. They had already agreed on it yesterday. He believed that once the young mistress went to the Qishan sect, she would adapt to the situation. Xiao Chen, goodbye. Cheng Menjing smiled, trying to make herself happy. Knowing that things could not be changed, Xiao Chen had to turn around and prepare to leave. In fact, he did not want to stay any longer. If Yao Baoang remembered something and blamed him for little Yao's death, it would be troublesome. Goodbye, eldest miss, but I will bring you back in less than 3 years. As he drove, Xiao Chen felt a little melancholic. There were some things that he couldn't change, but he had tried his best. After returning to the Xiao family, Xiao Chen was a little silent. Xiao Yuanshan walked over and lightly patted Xiao Chen's shoulder. Xiao Chen, Grandpa is already very happy with your current achievements. There are some things that you can't do for the time being, so don't think too much about it. Xiao Yuanshan's gaze was a little deep. Originally, he did not have any hope of finding Xiaofan, but now that Xiao Chen had grown up, maybe Xiaofan was really fine. Grandpa, I'm fine. Actually, thinking about it, Menjing had already broken off the engagement with me, and I wasn't so disappointed. It's just that now I have the strength, but I can't change it, so I feel a little unbalanced. Xiao Chen had already thought it through. Since Menjing was not in danger, and on the contrary, she could become a devil cultivator, this should be a good thing. There was no need for him to frown. Wasn't life spent in separation and reunion? Even if Menjing stayed in Songning, wouldn't he still have to go to Lan City? To do a mission? Even if he couldn't see her all the time, what was the difference between now and now? After thinking through this point, Xiao Chen also felt relieved. Brother, we are having a class reunion tomorrow night, will you accompany me? Xiao walked in and said after seeing Xiao Chen, not caring if Cheng Menjing had already left. Tomorrow? Why would I go to your class reunion? Xiao Chen didn't really want to go. He didn't know them, and even if he knew them, he didn't want to play with Xiao Zhao's classmates. They were all little brats, what was there to play with? We agreed to bring family members. Xiao said, others bring family members, if I don't, how embarrassing would it be? What, bringing family members means to bring boyfriend and girlfriend, who brings brother? Xiao Chen was a little speechless. He didn't know if Xiao really didn't understand, or if she was just pretending. Who said that brother is not considered family? Grandpa, do you think he is my family member? Xiao pointed at Xiao Chen and asked Xiao Yuanshan. This, of course. Xiao Yuanshan didn't know how to answer, but he couldn't say no, right? You see, Grandpa said that you are my family member, then it's decided happily. Xiao said happily, tomorrow night, don't forget. Okay. Xiao Chen had no choice but to agree. He thought that he didn't have much time left at home. According to Xiaoma, he didn't find anything wrong with Su Chuxia, but the matter shouldn't have been resolved, so he planned to go over and take a look. After all, he promised them. The Missy left, and Xiao Chen also planned to leave, but before he left, there were still some things to do. For example, he hadn't seen Lu Shuangshuang and Kerlin, nor did he see Zheng Xiaokuan. In fact, Xiao Chen felt that his relationship with Zheng Xiaokuan was a little strange. After Zheng Xiaokuan knew his identity, his attitude was obviously a little timid, and he didn't have the previous freedom. This kind of restraint made Xiao Chen very helpless. However, it was no wonder. Zheng Xiaokuan and Xiao Chen used to be friends on the same level, and Zheng Xiaokuan's status was even slightly higher. However, Xiao Chen's status suddenly became an existence that he could only look up to. At this moment, Zheng Xiaokuan's mentality hadn't adjusted. As for visiting the Zheng family, he naturally wouldn't go. Firstly, Zheng Xiaokuan wasn't his underling, and secondly, the relationship between the two had never risen to the level of a family. Thinking of Lu Shuangshuang, Xiao Chen called her. Hello? Xiao Chen. You finally remembered me? Lu Shuangshuang received a call from Xiao Chen, and she was obviously a little happy. I thought you forgot me again. How could I? Xiao Chen was a little embarrassed. The marriage between Lu Shuangshuang and himself was a mistake. Although Xiao Chen had a good impression of her, it was more of a responsibility. He couldn't always remember her. He had returned to Songning for many days. It was almost the end of the Chinese New Year, and he only thought of visiting Lu Shuangshuang now. Hee, I'm just kidding. I know you're busy. What's the matter? Are you thinking about that again? Lu Shuangshuang was still a little puzzled by Xiao Chen's sudden call. I'm not as dirty as you think. Can't I call you for something else? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. It turned out that he was such a person in Lu Shuangshuang's eyes. Hee, I'm still kidding. Lu Shuangshuang smiled and said, what's the matter? Nothing much. I just miss you. Are you free? Do you want to come out and sit? Asked Xiao Chen. Oh, you still want to ask me out? Lu Shuangshuang said after listening, you see, then you can just say it. Sweat, I just want to see you. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. In fact, he really had this thought. During this time, he was pestered by Xiao Xiao every night. He couldn't go to Tang Tang, and it really made Xiao Chen depressed. He could just look for Lu Shuangshuang, but since Lu Shuangshuang said so, he was too embarrassed to do it. Oh. I just wanted to come here today. If you don't want to, then forget it. Next time you miss me and don't want to, then I can't help it. Anyway, we agreed that you have to let me do it. Lu Shuangshuang said seriously. Where are you? Xiao Chen simply changed the topic. I'm planning to go out. My uncle asked me to help him buy a rice transplanter in the city. I'm going to take a look, said Lu Shuangshuang. Your uncle? Buy a rice transplanter? Xiao Chen was a little stunned. Why do you want to buy that? His family is in the countryside. Isn't spring coming soon? He wants to plant crops. Manual transplanting is too troublesome, so he plans to invest in a modern equipment to help the nearby villagers transplant rice. He can also earn some money. Lu Shuangshuang explained. Oh, then I will accompany you. Xiao Chen happened to be looking for Lu Shuangshuang, so he simply accompanied her to take a look. That's great. I was still a little worried. I don't know what to do if I go alone. What if I get cheated again? Lu Shuangshuang heard that Xiao Chen accompanied her, and she was suddenly very happy. Then, will you pick me up? You wait at home, said Xiao Chen. Do I need to ask Kerlin to come with me? Lu Shuangshuang suddenly asked. Forget it. Although it was good to bring Sister Lin and have another beauty by his side, Xiao Chen couldn't always find them to have a threesome at night, right? Although Kerlin was Xiao Chen's little lover in the university, in fact, there was no relationship at all. Okay, hee. Lu Shuangshuang smiled again as if she had seen through Xiao Chen's intention. Xiao Chen pretended not to notice it. He hung up the phone and drove to Shanty Town. Lu Shuangshuang had already packed up and waited outside Shanty Town. When she saw Xiao Chen's Land Rover, she walked over and got in the car. Needless to say, Lu Shuangshuang dressed quite fashionably, like a beautiful woman in the city. However, people with discerning eyes could see that although Lu Shuangshuang dressed beautifully, she was wearing cheap goods. Although the bag was the same as the Louis Vuitton, the logo on it was completely different. Of course, Xiao Chen didn't mean to laugh at her. Instead, he thought that she was very simple and good. In fact, Lu Shuangshuang now earned a lot, and Lu Shuangshuang's grandmother's illness was also cured. There was no need to save money like before, but Lu Shuangshuang still didn't spend it recklessly. Moreover, because of the environment in which Xiao Chen grew up, he didn't have the temperament of a young master at all. He didn't have any thoughts about those materialistic things. Whether it was his net worth or face, they were all fleeting clouds in his eyes. You're dressed quite beautifully. Xiao Chen praised. Really? That's good. Otherwise, would have dressed up for nothing. Lu Shuangshuang fastened her seatbelt and was a little proud. Do I look like those celebrities on TV? Quite similar, Xiao Chen said with a smile. Hee, in fact, I was born beautiful. You got a bargain. My lover is so beautiful, and I don't need your money. Lu Shuangshuang said. Chapter 705. Hee. Xiao Chen thought for a while and said, Shuangshuang, actually, you can buy some better things that are slightly more expensive. You don't have to buy things that are sold at street stalls. Your grandma's illness has been cured. You don't have to work so hard to earn money. I heard that the shanty town is going to be demolished soon. I plan to save money and buy a big house for my grandma. Then we can move there. Lu Shuangshuang had her own plan. In Songning City now, buying a big house in a slightly better area will cost at least a few million, right? Of course, I have to save money. If you don't have enough, you can tell me. Xiao Chen was not short of money now. He still had 100 million from Xiaofan in his bank account. Forget it. If I take your money, I won't have the confidence. You can't force me to make the previous decision. Lu Shuangshuang said, you'd better save me some face and dignity. Do I look like the kind of person who likes to use force? Xiao Chen was speechless. That's not it. He. Lu Shuangshuang said, all right. If I don't have enough money, I will tell you. Okay. Xiao Chen drove to the biggest car market in the city. Not only were there many expensive imported cars, but also ordinary agricultural vehicles and trucks were also sold there. Usually, people who wanted to buy cars went there. The Porsche 4S shop where Jean Bebe maintained her car was also near the car market. By the way, do you know anything about rice transplanters? Lu Shuangshuang asked. I looked it up on the internet. They are divided into manual and automatic ones. The price ranges from a few thousand to tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands. Let's go and have a look. These things are clearly marked. They can't be deceived. How much does your uncle want to buy? Xiao Chen asked. Tens of thousands will do. He asked me to give him some advice. In fact, he doesn't know much about it. He just knows that it's easier to watch these things on TV. Lu Shuangshuang said, when the time comes, we can help him make the decision. Okay. Let's see. Xiao Chen parked the car in the parking lot of Car City, got off the car with Lu Shuangshuang, and walked into the exhibition hall. Whether it was an imported car or a farm vehicle, there were corresponding booths in the exhibition hall. Xiao Chen did not intend to look for it one by one in Nua Auto City. As long as he found the booth in the exhibition hall, he could get the information and go to the corresponding address. This was the largest car sales market in Songning City, and it was newly built in recent years. The rapid development of the city made the land in the urban area extremely expensive. It might have been a remote place at first, but a few years later, it became a business district, so the heavy rent made many car dealers unable to bear the burden. After all, they weren't the kind of merchants that could open a business casually. They needed a lot of land to sell their cars, and they couldn't sell them on the second or third floor of a shopping mall. Therefore, building a car city was the common wish of these people. Xiao Chen couldn't remember when this car city was built, but he vaguely remembered that it seemed to be related to a certain family. Xiao Chen didn't inquire about which family it was. After all, the Xiao family couldn't do such a huge business at that time. It was useless to inquire. However, Xiao Chen had been here several times before, and he came with Chen Jinpeng. As a prodigal son, how could Xiao Chen not come here? But even if he had been here before, Xiao Chen didn't know where the farm vehicles were sold. Xiao Chen took Lu Shuangshuang into the exhibition hall. Because there was no planned route, they could only wander around. The exhibition hall was very large, covering almost all kinds of cars. Almost all domestic and foreign brands were there, including some special imported cars. Lu Shuangshuang looked at all kinds of beautiful cars. In the past, she had only seen such cars on TV and magazines. Occasionally, she could see some luxury cars at the entrance of the Warrior Guild, but she had never been to such a place. Xiao Chen saw that Lu Shuangshuang seemed to like it very much, so he said, "Why don't I buy you a car? You go to the Warrior Guild every day, and it's quite a long way. How do you get there?" "By bike." Lu Shuangshuang said, "There are no public buses there, so I can only go by bike." "Then you should pick one. I'll give it to you." Xiao Chen didn't expect Lu Shuangshuang to still ride a bike every day. After passing by an exhibition hall, Xiao Chen pointed at a small car and said, "I think this car is not bad. It's quite suitable for girls to drive." Seeing that Xiao Chen and Lu Shuangshuang stopped, a sales lady immediately walked out of the store and waved at them enthusiastically. "Are you two looking at cars?" Although Xiao Chen and Lu Shuangshuang's clothes were ordinary, cars weren't a luxury anymore. Many working-class people and even workers could afford it, so the sales lady didn't even think about whether these two could afford it. Most people didn't think about whether they could afford to buy it, but whether they could afford to drive it. After all, the cost of maintaining a car wasn't low. Let's just look around. Xiaofan didn't expect this person to be so enthusiastic. He just pointed randomly, and she came. If he didn't stay and take a look, it would be a little embarrassing. He couldn't help but ask, "What car is this?" "This is a new car launched by Chang, an automobile. It's very cost-effective, and it's selling very well now." The sales lady immediately introduced, "Whether it's a car or a small SUV, it's currently selling very well. How much is it?" Xiaofan asked casually. "More than 80,000 for the automatic transmission," said the sales lady. Lu Shuangshuang was indeed tempted. She originally thought that a car would cost at least a few $100,000, but she didn't expect that the domestic cars were so cheap. They were quite beautiful, especially the automatic transmission, which was suitable for girls to drive. If it was very expensive, she really would be embarrassed to ask Xiaofan to buy it for her, but this car was only tens of thousands, so Lu Shuangshuang didn't think much of it. "What do you think?" Xiaofan asked Lu Shuangshuang. "Let's see." Lu Shuangshuang hesitated and planned to think about it. Xiaofan didn't force it. Seeing that Lu Shuangshuang didn't agree, he thought she didn't like it, so he didn't say much. It doesn't matter. This is my business card. My name is Li Shui, and I'm the sales representative here. If you like it, you can test drive it." The sales lady enthusiastically gave Lu Shuangshuang a business card. She could see that Lu Shuangshuang was actually tempted. Lu Shuangshuang took the business card and left the exhibition hall with Xiaofan. "You don't like it?" Xiaofan waited until they left before he asked. "I think it's okay, but I'm thinking that the car is indeed cheap, but the cost of gas, maintenance, and some other expenses are quite high." Lu Shuangshuang said, "Forget it. Let's not buy it. Let's ride a bicycle. It's more environmentally friendly. Actually, I think it's okay to buy one. It's not eye-catching in your shanty town. The main thing is that your grandmother has recovered. It's spring now. You can take her out for a walk. It's more convenient to have a car. You can't ride a bicycle to carry her, right?" Xiaofan suggested. That's true." When Lu Shuangshuang heard that Xiaofan said she could take her grandmother out, she was suddenly tempted, but she still said, "Let's show my uncle the rice transplanter first." "Okay." Xiaofan nodded, and the two walked forward aimlessly. The two of them continued to walk forward. Before they knew it, they had come to the exhibition hall of imported cars. The Porsche 4S that Jean Bebe had repaired before also had an exhibition hall here. Although Lu Shuangshuang did not buy it, she could still enjoy the view. She couldn't help but take out her mobile phone and stand in front of a red Land Rover Aurora to take a selfie. Xiaofan didn't think there was anything wrong with it, so he stood aside and waited for her. However, when Lu Shuangshuang was taking the selfie happily, she was suddenly stopped by someone. "Hey, isn't this Lu Shuangshuang? It's really you." Lu Shuangshuang looked up and saw an arrogant, fair-skinned, rich, and beautiful woman. She was holding the arm of a second-generation rich man and walking toward her. The one who called her was the fair-skinned, rich, and beautiful woman. Lu Shuangshuang was slightly stunned. Only then did she recognize who the person in front of her was. "Su Xiaolu? Are you here to buy a car? Is this your boyfriend?" Su Xiaolu looked at Lu Shuangshuang with some disdain, especially when she saw that Xiaofan didn't have any brand on him. She was even more disdainful. "Lu Shuangshuang, the genius goddess of our class, I didn't expect you to be so miserable. Oh, by the way, I heard that you dropped out of high school and didn't go to college. TSK, TSK. Alas, your life is so gloomy." A trace of anger flashed in Lu Shuangshuang's eyes, but obviously, she didn't want to cause trouble or talk to the person in front of her. She put away her mobile phone and turned to Xiao Chen, saying, "Xiao Chen, let's go over there and have a look. This is my junior high school classmate. We don't know each other very well." "Huh, don't know each other very well?" Su Xiaolu, however, stood in front of Lu Shuangshuang mockingly and said in a strange voice, "We are desk mates. Do you think we don't know each other very well?" "Su Xiaolu, what do you want?" Lu Shuangshuang stopped helplessly. She didn't want to talk to Su Xiaolu anymore. She hated this woman very much. She used to hate her, and she still hated her now. "Weren't you very arrogant when we were in school? You didn't let me copy in the exam? You even told me to study on my own, or else I would have no future. Who is the one who has no future?" Ha 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 ha. Su Xiaolu finally found a sense of existence. She laughed and said, "Let me tell you, I went to college." When she was in junior high, she didn't study well. Usually, during exams, she always wanted to copy the exam papers of her desk mate, Lu Shuangshuang. However, Lu Shuangshuang wouldn't let her. After a few times, the two of them had a conflict. However, Su Xiaolu's family conditions were good. Although she didn't go to high school, her family spent a lot of money for her to go to a high school on loan. She had a very rich boyfriend at school and even helped her to go to a university. Although she didn't get in with a proper reason, she still felt superior in front of Lu Shuangshuang, who dropped out of school. "Shuangshuang, is your classmate crazy?" Xiao Chen looked at Su Xiaolu, who had a sense of accomplishment on her face. He really didn't understand where her sense of accomplishment came from. "Don't care about her. Let's go." Lu Shuangshuang took a deep breath. Chapter 706. In fact, not being able to go to college was a sore point for Lu Shuangshuang. She was very good in junior high school. After entering high school, because she had to work part-time, her grades plummeted. Her family's financial situation did not allow her to go to college, so she dropped out of school to work. In fact, deep in her heart, Lu Shuangshuang still wanted to go to school to study. This was also the reason why Lu Shuangshuang was tempted when Xiao Chen suggested that she go to school. "Go? Don't you want to buy a car?" Su Xiaolu looked at the phone in Lu Shuangshuang's hand strangely and suddenly laughed. "Ha ha ha, I know. You came here to show off, right? Take a few photos in front of the car and post them on your WeChat moments. Just say it's your car. Ha ha ha." Lu Shuangshuang did take a few photos, but she had no intention of showing off. She just wanted to have fun. Besides, what car did she want to buy? Didn't Xiao Chen have the money to buy it? Does it have anything to do with you? And we are really here to buy a car. Xiao Chen looked at Su Xiaolu strangely. This person was just an ordinary person. If she was a cultivator, Xiao Chen would have slapped her away. However, for an ordinary person like her, Xiao Chen really had no way to deal with her. He really didn't want to lower himself to her level. "Ha! You dare to say that you are here to buy a car?" Su Xiaolu seemed to have caught Xiao Chen's words and laughed again. She saw Lu Shuangshuang, who was dressed in street stalls, and Xiao Chen, who was not eye-catching. She could tell at first glance that they were not rich. "Okay, my dear knows the young master of this car city. What car do you want to buy? For the sake of our old classmates, I will find someone to give you a discount." "Really?" Lu Shuangshuang was about to leave. Xiao Chen asked in surprise, "You can find someone?" "Of course." Su Xiaolu nodded proudly and then said sarcastically, "The problem is, can you buy it?" In her opinion, Xiao Chen and Lu Shuangshuang were probably just looking around. It was impossible for them to buy a car. Even if they wanted to buy a car, poor people like them would not buy it after seeing it once. They must have no money, so she didn't mind making a fool of them. "Let's go, Lu Shuangshuang. Since your classmate is so kind, let's ask her for help. Xiao Chen said, although we are rich, we should save whenever we can. Being thrifty is a traditional virtue. It's great that someone is saving money for us. Lu Shuangshuang looked at Xiao Chen strangely. This guy didn't seem to care about other people's sarcasm at all. In fact, when Xiao Chen was kicked out of the Xiao family, he had seen a lot of doubts and sarcasm. Moreover, Xiao Chen's mentality was different now. He was a cultivator. How could he lower himself to the level of these people? Sure, what kind of car do you want to buy? Could it be a bicycle? It's probably a bit difficult to get a discount. It's not worth it to find someone, but I can buy it for you. Su Xiaolu laughed. You'll know later. Xiao Chen said faintly and pulled Lu Shuangshuang forward. In order to attack Lu Shuangshuang, Su Xiaolu naturally followed behind. However, her boyfriend was a little hesitant at the moment. Xiaolu, if they really want to buy a car, are we really going to find someone for them? Dekuan, do you think they can buy it? Do they look like people who can afford it? Su Xiaolu curled her lips. Didn't I tell you before? She is Lu Shuangshuang, the person I hated the most in junior high school. She relied on her good grades to lecture me all day long. What's this? Isn't she still not in university? I know, but she looks quite pretty. Dekuan looked at Lu Shuangshuang's back with a perverted look. How could Su Xiaolu not see Dekuan's intention? She pinched him and said, "What's wrong? Are you interested in her?" That's not necessarily the case. This kind of poor girl can only be played around. Dekuan said quickly. How about this? You help me embarrass her today, and I will allow you to play with her. How about that? Su Xiaolu thought about it and said. Really? Okay, then I will help you put on a facade today. Dekuan immediately agreed. In his opinion, if he wanted to hook Lu Shuangshuang, he had to show his strength. Since this girl took selfies in front of those famous cars, she must be a gold digger. When the time comes, she might be easily hooked. Just like that, they followed Xiao Chen and Lu Shuangshuang forward. This time, they didn't continue to look at other cars. Instead, they went directly to the agricultural vehicle sales exhibition hall. They saw a rice transplanter specialty shop and walked in. Su Xiaolu and Dekuan were a little dumbfounded. Why, are we here? Are you here to look at the rice transplanter? Our rice transplanters are the best sold here. What kind do you want to see? Automatic or semi-automatic? There is also manual. A salesman immediately greeted them and introduced enthusiastically. Automatic, the one that sells better, the one that has a higher price-performance ratio, and it's not easy to malfunction. Which one is it? Xiao Chen asked directly. In his opinion, since he was working for someone, he naturally had to buy the most suitable one. Oh, that's this one. This product is powered by a small gasoline engine. It has four-wheel drive and a stepless transmission. It uses a double-row rotary transplanter to achieve high-speed transplanting. The salesman skillfully introduced the best-selling product. How much is this? After listening to the introduction, Lu Shuangshuang was a little tempted. The functions that her uncle mentioned were all covered by this product. The price of this one is 120,000 yuan. If it's delivered to your door, it's guaranteed to be successful, said the salesman. Oh, then this is it. After Xiao Chen finished speaking, he turned to look at Su Xiaolu and said, You look for the person. Su Xiaolu's eyes widened. What is this? The car that Lu Shuangshuang wants to buy, is a rice transplanter? How can I find the person? Isn't this a joke? Dekuan also had a look of amazement. He said with some puzzlement, Don't joke around. The car that you want to buy is this car? Yes. Lu Shuangshuang nodded affirmatively. My uncle asked me to help him buy this car. Su Xiaolu, can you find someone to give you a discount? This. Su Xiaolu's face was filled with black lines. She couldn't help but look at De Kun. De Kun looked at Lu Shuangshuang's somewhat expectant gaze and clenched his teeth. Forget it. It's just a favor. It's really not worth it. However, in order to woo Lu Shuangshuang, he could only pretend. He couldn't help but take out his phone and dial a number. Brother Monkey, I'm De Kun. Kun Z, do you remember me? De Kun dialed the phone, and his tone was extremely enthusiastic. De Kun? Who? Jing Xiaokun? Asked Brother Monkey on the other side of the phone. No, I'm Yang Shuangkun. We were junior high school classmates. De Kun quickly introduced himself. Brother Monkey, did you forget? We met at the junior high school reunion last time. You even gave me your contact information and asked me to look for you. Oh, what's the matter? Asked Brother Monkey. This is the case. I have a friend who wants to buy a car. Didn't you say that the car belongs to you? Do you think you can give me a discount? De Kun asked carefully. He prayed in his heart. Please don't reject it. If he rejected it, he would lose face. What car? Asked Brother Monkey. That. It's a rice transplanter. De Kun braced himself and said. F***ck off. Are you making fun of me? When Brother Monkey heard it, he thought that De Kun was talking nonsense to make a fool of himself. He hung up the phone unhappily. De Kun was shocked, but he didn't dare to put down the phone directly. He looked at Xiao Chen and Lu Shuangshuang on the other side of the phone and said, Brother Monkey, can you help me ask? I'm not familiar with this area. Okay, then I'll wait for your news. After saying that, De Kun put away the phone and smiled at Lu Shuangshuang. My buddy said that he's not familiar with rice transplanters. If it's those luxury cars, like Porsche, BMW, or Mercedes-Benz, he can talk to them. Oh. Xiao Chen wanted to laugh. He was a cultivator. He heard the voice on the other side of the phone clearly. This De Kun was ridiculed, but he still had the face to act cool. He was really a weirdo. However, the voice on the other side of the phone seemed a little familiar. On the other side, Brother Monkey hung up the phone. A man next to him asked, Skinny Monkey, who called you? What do you want? A junior high school classmate of mine wants to buy a car from me. I'll give him a discount. Brother Ming, do you think this person is sick? I asked him what car he wanted, and he told me to buy a rice transplanter. I think he's making fun of me during the Chinese New Year. The next time I see him, I'll kill him. Brother Monkey, who was called Skinny Monkey, said angrily. What is a rice transplanter? The person called Brother Ming obviously hadn't heard of this magical thing. Oh, it's a kind of agricultural vehicle. Skinny Monkey said, it can automatically transplant rice or something. In this car city, there are people who sell this thing? Brother Ming was a little surprised. Yes, it seems so. Skinny Monkey nodded. Bring me to see what it is. I happen to have nothing to do. I haven't seen such a magical thing before. Brother Ming was obviously bored during the Chinese New Year. Today, he brought his little brother, Skinny Monkey, to stroll around his car city. Previously, he maintained his Land Rover. Before he finished the maintenance, he wandered around the exhibition hall. He heard that there was such a fun thing. Of course, he wanted to see it. Alright, let's go and take a look. Skinny Monkey found a staff member to ask where the agricultural vehicle was sold. Then, he ran over with Brother Ming. Finished looking for the person? What do you mean? Why isn't there any news? Xiao Chen asked impatiently. After waiting for a long time, this De Kun was really patient. Why didn't he get lost? When the salesman heard that these people knew someone and could get a discount, he wasn't anxious. He waited at the side. Who knew if he knew the boss? Ah, wait. There will be news in a while. De Kuan naturally couldn't say that his phone was hung up. He was thinking in his heart. How can I smooth things over? Su Xiaolu didn't know. She looked at Lu Shuangshuang arrogantly and mockingly. You are buying this car? Why don't you buy a Land Rover? Just now, you were taking photos at the Land Rover exhibition hall, right? Chapter 707. I've bought it. Xiao Chen said plainly, I don't need to buy any more. Ha ha ha. You've bought it? When Su Xiaolu heard it, she was instantly amused. Lu Shuangshuang, you really look for the right person. Your boyfriend is just like you. He's really good at pretending. Did you buy it? That's right. We came here in the Land Rover. Lu Shuangshuang was really a little annoyed at this moment. This Su Xiaolu was really a snob. If Xiao Chen's identity was revealed, they would be scared to death. However, Lu Shuangshuang wasn't the kind of person who would talk too much. If Xiao Chen didn't say it, she wouldn't say it either. You came in a car? Sure, we can go out together later. How about you let me see your car? Su Xiaolu smiled at Lu Shuangshuang. Then. Lu Shuangshuang just wanted to agree, but she turned her head and looked at Xiao Chen. Can I let her see it? Whatever. Let her see it. It's not bad anyway. Xiao Chen shrugged indifferently. Then you can see it later. Lu Shuangshuang nodded. Sure. Right, De Kuan, how was it? Su Xiaolu didn't bother with these two people. She felt that these two people were too prideful. It was meaningless. Facts speak louder than words. It would be clear when they went out later. Let's wait and see. De Kuan was helpless. He could only hold on. At this time, Skinny Monkey and Brother Ming came nearby. Skinny Monkey was looking around to help Brother Ming find a rice transplanter. His eyes scanned and fixed on a spot not far away. He was shocked. Brother Ming, look over there. What? Brother Ming was taken aback. He looked in the direction that Shou Ho was pointing. It was a shop that specialized in rice transplanters. However, in the next moment, his eyes narrowed and he hurriedly rushed over with Shou Ho following closely behind. De Kuan was in a dilemma. He was anxious. He subconsciously looked around. When he turned around, he saw Skinny Monkey running over, and the legendary young master, Brother Ming. He was instantly ecstatic. Brother Monkey really gave me face. Not only did he come personally, but he also brought the young master, Brother Ming. I am really proud. The next moment, De Kuan hurried to the door with a smile and made a greeting gesture. Brother Monkey, this is Brother Ming. However, the two people who came in didn't stop at all. It was as if they didn't see De Kuan. They went around him and stopped in front of Xiao Chen. Brother Ming said flatteringly, Boss Xiao Chen, you're here. Why didn't you inform me? Little Lu, why are you here? Is this Motor City owned by your family? Xiao Chen suddenly remembered that the voice on De Kuan's phone was Skinny Monkey. At that time, he remembered that this car city was the territory of an aristocratic family. It turned out to be the Lu families. Yeah. Boss Xiao Chen, do you want to buy a car? Lu Zhenming asked with a smile. Xiao Chen was getting more and more ruthless recently. The Lu family was naturally happy. Otherwise, the Lu family was at the bottom of the aristocratic families and was in danger. Usually, they were afraid of being replaced by other families. Now that they had a backer like Xiao Chen, Lu Zhenming had also become a hero. Lu Siwen had some resentment towards Lu Zhenming messing around all day, but he actually became Xiao Chen's underling. Lu Siwen was quite happy. Now, whenever he encountered a strong enemy, he could directly scare them. My son's boss is Xiao Chen. If you're not convinced, he will cripple you when he comes. Then the other party would be convinced. Xiao Chen's reputation in Songning City was still very scary. Oh, I want to buy a car, but I can't afford it. This. I don't know what his name is. He said he can find someone to give him a discount. We are waiting here. Xiao Chen pointed to De Kun and said. Skinny Monkey was suddenly stunned, then he quickly turned to Yang Shuangkuan and said, De Kun, why didn't you say earlier that you are looking for someone to buy a car for Brother Xiao? Really, you really want to buy a rice transplanter? Yes, yes. De Kun saw that Skinny Monkey finally remembered him, and he was very happy. Just now, when he saw Lu Zhenming and Skinny Monkey go straight to Xiao Chen, his heart suddenly skipped a beat. Did I make a mistake? These two, how could they know Skinny Monkey and Brother Ming? Oh, then why do we still need money? Lu Zhenming waved his hand and said to the salesman, just issue the invoice directly. Keep the invoice to offset the next year's rent. Yes, yes. The salesman nodded quickly. He naturally knew Lu Zhenming. He knew that he was the young master of Motor City. If he said that it could offset the rent, then it would definitely be offset. So, he quickly issued the invoice and said, please leave the delivery address. Lu Shuangshuang didn't expect things to go so smoothly, but she still looked at Xiao Chen with some hesitation. This doesn't cost money? Oh, since little Lu said that I don't need to spend, then I won't spend. Xiao Chen said faintly. He also understood that the Lu family was like a fish in water at the aristocratic family level with the help of his name recently. However, Xiao Chen turned a blind eye to this little brother. After all, little Lu's crucial recording had helped Xiao Chen a lot. Without that recording, Xia Shibin wouldn't have been able to rely on him so easily. It could be said that Lu Zhenming's credit was still very big. Lu Shuangshuang didn't say much. She left the address and then turned to look at Su Xiaolu as if she had vented her anger. Didn't you say that I can't afford a car? This time, I don't have to buy it. Someone gave it to me. This. Su Xiaolu cursed in her heart. Look at you, and you still want to buy a farm car. You must be very poor. I don't know how you got lucky, but this man named Xiao Chen took a fancy to you. As a result, you soared to the sky. However, when he got tired of playing with you, he would dump you. Thinking of this, Su Xiaolu couldn't help but say, isn't it just buying a farm car? If you have the ability, go buy a Land Rover. Weren't you taking a selfie just now? Your boyfriend is so powerful. Why don't you get him to buy it for you? Su Xiaolu rolled her eyes and said such a thing. She didn't know the capabilities of Lu Zhenming and Thin Monkey-like. In her opinion, so what if the other party was the boss of Car City? De Kun's family also opened a large bathing and entertainment center. If they didn't buy a car, who would deal with them? So even if Xiao Chen knew Lu Zhenming and Thin Monkey-like, it didn't matter. She was so angry that she wanted to trick them. First of all, didn't Lu Zhenming give them a car? Then why don't you give them a Land Rover? Second, even if you don't, Xiao Chen, you are so powerful. Why don't you buy one? Third, if I don't buy it, it will definitely cause a knot in Lu Shuangshuang's heart. At that time, I can successfully provoke her and get this chick for my boyfriend to play with. At that time, I can dump her and humiliate her. However, these few words suddenly made De Kun angry. He did help Su Xiaolu to act cool in front of Lu Shuangshuang, but since he saw that Lu Zhenming and Thin Monkey-like knew Xiao Chen and even called Xiao Chen boss, he was a little dumbfounded. Wasn't he asking for trouble? Even the young master of Car City called him brother. How could he be so arrogant and think that he couldn't afford a car? Wasn't this a joke? Just as he was thinking about how to remedy it, Thin Monkey-like took the initiative to talk to him. He was planning to smooth things over, but he didn't expect Su Xiaolu to shoot at Lu Shuangshuang again. He was so angry that he was about to explode. He slapped Su Xiaolu's face without thinking. Did you take your medicine today? Why are you talking nonsense? What do you want to buy? Why do you care what people buy? Lu Zhenming thought that Xiao Chen was looking for De Kuan to help him buy a car. He felt that something was wrong. Did Xiao Chen need a discount to buy a car? Even if there was a discount, he didn't need to look for him. How convenient was it for him to look for me? Of course, he didn't think too much before. He just thought about how to please Xiao Chen. Now, after listening to Su Xiaolu's words and watching Yang Shuangkuan's performance, he immediately understood what was going on. Lu Zhenming glanced at Thin Monkey-like, and Thin Monkey-like immediately understood. He looked at De Kuan with an unfriendly gaze. What are you doing here? Ugh. We are actually here to buy a car. De Kuan was a little depressed. He lowered his head and said carefully. What car? Asked Thin Monkey-like. It's the Land Rover Aurora that Lu Shuangshuang was looking at. De Kuan didn't dare to hide and answered truthfully. In fact, they were looking at cars previously, and the car that Su Xiaolu was interested in was the one that Lu Shuangshuang took a photo of. Therefore, Su Xiaolu was a little annoyed and mocked Lu Shuangshuang with a sense of superiority. Oh, did you buy it? Asked Thin Monkey-like. Yes. I just paid for it. I will pick up the car later and go to the 4S shop to help me decorate it. De Kuan answered carefully. Oh, that's great. If you give this car to her, she will have it. Thin Monkey-like pointed at Lu Shuangshuang and then looked at Lu Zhenming proudly. Brother Ming, what do you think of my idea? Didn't this Su Xiaolu mock that sister-in-law doesn't have a car? If we give his car to sister-in-law, she will have it, right? Yes, yes, yes. When Lu Zhenming heard it, he nodded continuously. Monkey-like, you have become smarter recently. That's right. Didn't Brother Ming say that the current era is the era of intelligence? We all have to be smarter and learn from Boss Xiao Chen, said Thin Monkey-like. De Kuan's face was a little pale. A Land Rover Aurora is already 700,000 yuan. How can he just give it away? But the main problem is, isn't he going to send it off? Does he dare not to send it off? He heard Lu Zhenming call Lu Shuangshuang sister-in-law. If he doesn't send it off, then he will be dead. Needless to say. I saw sister-in-law taking a selfie just now. I thought that sister-in-law must like this car. This is the invoice for the payment just now. Just in time to change the name and reopen it. De Kuan laughed a little miserably, but there was no other way. Others didn't know, but he understood what Lu Zhenming meant to his family. His family was a bathing and entertainment center. Usually, they had to rely on Lu Zhenming's Lu family gang. If they offended Lu Zhenming, their business would probably not be able to continue. Thinking about it, a car was nothing. However, Su Xiaolu was dumbfounded. Brother Kuan, didn't you say that the car was bought for me? Why did you give it away? Chapter 708. I think you really don't have any medicine. How can you talk like a cute girl? You are with me every day. Why do you need a car? Don't I have a car? You can take my car. De Kuan glared at Su Xiaolu and said angrily. Su Xiaolu was speechless. But she also saw that the situation was not right. She shrank her head and did not dare to say anything more. The thin monkey-like man grabbed the invoice and said lightly, then it's all right. Go ahead. We will change the name. Yes, yes. De Kuan was depressed, but he did not dare to say anything more. He could only nod. Lu Shuangshuang looked at Su Xiaolu sympathetically and said to Xiao Chen in a low voice, how about, we don't take her car? She is quite pitiful. Xiao Chen frowned. But since Lu Shuangshuang said so, a car was really nothing to Xiao Chen now. It was no longer the time when he and Jean Bebe cheated cars. He was about to speak when Su Xiaolu heard Lu Shuangshuang's words. She suddenly jumped up as if she was crazy. She pointed at Lu Shuangshuang and shouted, "Lu Shuangshuang, I don't want you to pretend to sympathize with me, and I don't need you to preach to me. What are you? Isn't it just a powerful man? What's so great about that? You are still poor. Su Xiaolu, that's enough." De Kun was furious. He kicked Su Xiaolu's butt and made her fall flat on her face. He had just calmed down this matter by using a car to appease Lu Zhenming's anger. Was Su Xiaolu crazy? Did she want his business to close down or something? Forget it. She is crazy. Let's go. Xiao Chen shook his head and gave up the idea of returning the car to her. This crazy woman was really unreasonable. Seeing that Xiao Chen didn't say much, Lu Zhenming naturally wouldn't say anything. He accompanied Xiao Chen to the previous Land Rover 4S shop. With Lu Zhenming here, it was very easy to reissue the invoice. If it was an ordinary customer, it would be troublesome to issue a new invoice. However, Lu Zhenming settled it with a few words. When the manager of the 4S shop saw that the car was Lu Zhenming's, he immediately asked someone to inform the workshop to add more facilities. Lu Shuangshuang felt like she was in a dream. She wanted to buy a cheaper car before, but in the blink of an eye, she got a Land Rover Aurora. You haven't spent any money yet? I don't think it's a good idea for us to do this. Lu Shuangshuang had a bad feeling about it. Why didn't you think it was bad when you asked me for 10,000 yuan? Xiao Xiao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. That was something I sold to you. I didn't ask for it for free. Lu Shuangshuang said. This car was actually given to Lu Zhenming by that De Kun. Lu Zhenming is my underling. This is between me and him. You don't have to think too much. Xiao Chen explained. Yeah, speaking of it, it was De Kun who took advantage of it. When the time comes, take care of his entertainment city and let those little punks not cause trouble. How much trouble did he save? Lu Zhenming quickly explained, he gave me a car. He really took advantage of it. I see. After Lu Shuangshuang heard it, she felt at ease. Right, do you have a driver's license? Xiao Chen suddenly thought of an important question. Yes. Lu Shuangshuang's answer was a bit unexpected to Xiao Chen. You have a driver's license? I was thinking about driving a tourist car. Because the telescope business isn't very good, before I met you, I planned to change my career. Lu Shuangshuang said, I heard that many travel companies hire beautiful female drivers for their tourist cars. The salary is not low. Oh, then I'm relieved. Xiao Chen nodded. After the procedures were done, Lu Zhenming naturally didn't want to be a third wheel. He said directly, Boss Xiao Chen, do you drive the car back first, or should I ask them to get the license plate directly? Just do it directly. Xiao Chen didn't want to waste time. Okay. Lu Zhenming responded and asked Skinny Monkey to arrange it. Where should I send the car? If you can't find me, send it directly to the Warriors Market. Lu Shuangshuang should be there during the day. You call her. Xiao Chen gave Lu Shuangshuang's number to Lu Zhenming. After the things here were done, Xiao Chen left Car City with Lu Shuangshuang. Lu Shuangshuang called her uncle and told him that the rice transplanter was bought. He could receive it there. As for the price, Lu Shuangshuang didn't say much. She just said that she had earned some savings in the city over the years. It would be a gift for her uncle. Although her uncle was embarrassed to accept it, Lu Shuangshuang didn't say much. He could only give up and express his gratitude. Where are we going? Lu Shuangshuang got in the car. She was a little excited. I can't believe I have become a car owner. To the hotel? Xiao Chen asked. Why? Didn't you say you won't go today? Lu Shuangshuang glanced at Xiao Chen. Then forget it, Xiao Chen said with a smile. Then let's go, Lu Shuangshuang said. He. Xiao Chen smiled. Lu Shuangshuang was a very emotional person. She wouldn't avoid some topics because of shyness and deliberately avoid something. She also missed Xiao Chen. They hadn't seen each other for a long time. Since the last time they parted at the Warriors Guild, they hadn't been intimate. Lu Shuangshuang actually missed it too. The night passed uneventfully. The next morning, Xiao Chen returned to the Xiao family. However, he saw Xiao Zhao's black face and red eyes. It was a little scary. Xiao Chen was shocked. Xiao, what happened to you? Xiao Chen asked quickly. Brother, why didn't you come back last night? I waited for you all night and only fell asleep in the morning. I only slept for 2 hours. Xiao looked at Xiao Chen with resentment. Where did you go? I went to see a friend. Xiao Chen was a little embarrassed. He didn't expect Xiao to really wait for him to go back at night. This gave him a headache. Before he came back, Xiao Zhao's life was quite good. She didn't have trouble sleeping. Why did she have this problem when he came back? Humph. Xiao looked at Xiao Chen up and down. A girl? Yes. Xiao Chen didn't deny it. I knew it. A trace of helplessness flashed across Xiao Zhao's face. Brother, how many do you have? Aren't you afraid of dying from exhaustion? I won't die from exhaustion. Your brother is also someone who can fight against a general. I won't die from exhaustion. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. Xiao, don't you have a gathering with your classmates tonight? You should sleep. Oh, then I'll go to sleep. You're not allowed to go out. Wait for me to wake up. Xiao nodded. She didn't force Xiao Chen to accompany her during the day. Cheng Menjing and the Cheng family all came to the Quishan sect. They were arranged to stay in a courtyard, which was actually a place for ordinary outer sect disciples to cultivate. Although Yao Baoang was an outstanding person among the younger generation, his position in the sect wasn't very high. Little Yao had died outside, becoming a disgrace to the sect. Naturally, no one wanted to stand up for him. When his body was brought back to the sect, it was just a hasty burial. As for Yao Baoang, he also began to endure hardships to test his courage. As Yao Baoang's fiancé, Cheng Menjing naturally had the right to cultivate the sect's mental cultivation method. Early the next morning, Cheng Xiaofan brought her to the sutra depository and let her choose a suitable mental cultivation method. This was also the sect's rule. After bringing her over, Cheng Xiaofan didn't care anymore. From his point of view, since Cheng Menjing had come to the Quishan sect, she was like a fish in a bowl. There was no way she could get out. The so-called 3-year agreement was all nonsense. Cheng Tianqiu and Cheng Zhongming sighed. They didn't expect that the Cheng family, who had been powerful in Songning City for many years, would be gone overnight. From now on, there was no longer a Cheng family in Songning City. Cheng Tianqiu regretted signing the contract with the Quishan sect. However, it was useless to deny it. Cheng Xiaofan was so scheming that he even deceived him. I'm the one who harmed the Xiao family and Zhongqian. I should have seen through Cheng Xiaofan's wild ambition long ago. Cheng Tianqiu was a little helpless. Zhongming, it seems that you're still the best. Father, it's already happened. It's useless for us to regret it. Xiao Chen said that he would definitely come to pick up Menjing. We'll just wait for him here. Cheng Zhongming suddenly laughed. Actually, it's quite tiring to be the first person in Songning City. It's better to live a peaceful life here. That's true. Cheng Tianqiu nodded. At noon, Cheng Menjing came back with a mental cultivation method incantation. She just needed to register it at the entrance of the sutra depository. Anyway, these mental cultivation methods were copied versions for the sect's disciples to borrow at any time. Grandpa, Father, I'm going to practice. Please tell Mother that I won't come out for dinner. Just send it to my room. Since Cheng Menjing was already here, she decided not to waste these 3 years. She had to seize every minute and every second to work hard on her cultivation. As for the mental cultivation method incantation, it was indeed as Yi Xiaoya said. There was indeed a manual that required a virgin to practice. However, for some reason, it was thrown into a corner with a layer of dust on it. Cheng Menjing searched for the whole morning. When she was about to give up, she found this secret manual. After thinking about it, it was probably because there were almost no female disciples in the Quishan sect. Even if there were, they would be the family members of male disciples. They were definitely not virgin, so this mental cultivation method was casually thrown into an inconspicuous corner. Cheng Menjing was lucky. She didn't find it, so she was a little discouraged and wanted to find something to vent her anger on. Therefore, she kicked the ground and shouted, "I'm so angry." Then, a secret manual flew out. Although she didn't know if she could practice it, Cheng Menjing planned to give it a try. Anyway, she only found this manual, so whether she could practice it or not was not a big deal. Therefore, Cheng Menjing didn't care. She returned to her room and planned to practice in seclusion for a while. Even if she couldn't succeed, she could avoid Yao Boang's harassment. When he came to find her, she could use the excuse of seclusion to send him away. Chapter 709. Sure enough, as Cheng Menjing expected, Yao Baoang came that night. He couldn't do anything to Cheng Menjing during the day because there were many disciples in the sect. Although Cheng Menjing was his fiancée, everyone knew that they had a 3-year agreement. If he was impatient and tried to do something to her, it would seem that he was unreliable if someone saw Cheng Menjing's resistance. It would affect the senior management's impression of him, and it would not be worth it. Therefore, he chose to visit at night. "Father-in-law, Grandpa Cheng, are you used to living here?" Yao Baoang saw Cheng Zhongming and Cheng Tianqiu, so he greeted them with a smile. "Don't worry about us, young Master Yao. We are fine here. Young Master Yao is busy with your cultivation, so you don't have to worry about us in the future." Cheng Tianqiu snorted coldly and said lightly. The Cheng family was under house arrest, and this situation was completely caused by the kid in front of him. Seeing him, how could Cheng Tianqiu have a good expression? No matter how busy I am, I can't forget the Cheng family. This is also my home." Yao Baoang laughed, then turned his head and asked, "By the way, where is Menjing?" "She went to choose a cultivation method. I'm here to see if she succeeded and if there are any problems in her cultivation. I can give her some pointers." "There's no need for that. My daughter is cultivating in seclusion. She has chosen a cultivation method and is trying it. At this time, young Master Yao should know that she can't be disturbed." Cheng Zhongming said, "I believe young Master Yao can understand." She has chosen? She has already started to cultivate? Really?" Yao Baoang was a little shocked. "She didn't have any foundation before, did she? Can she cultivate by herself? Won't she be possessed by the devil? No matter what, our Cheng family is an ancient martial arts family in the secular world. Menjing has heard a lot since she was young, so she has some understanding of cultivation. She has also trained her body, so it's not surprising that she directly embarked on the path of devil cultivation, right?" Cheng Tianqiu said lightly, "I believe that if Menjing is an idiot, Child Yao won't like her, right?" "This. Of course." Yao Baoang was a little depressed. He couldn't refute Cheng Tianqiu's words. He suddenly felt that his IQ was a little low. With just a few words, the other party had cut off the possibility of him meeting Cheng Menjing. However, Xiao Yao was dead, and he had no one to discuss it with. Although this matter was facilitated by Cheng Zhongfan, Yao Baoang also knew that Cheng Zhongfan had ulterior motives in this matter, which was nothing more than forcing Xiao Chen. Now that the goal had been achieved, Cheng Zhongfan didn't care much about whether he could settle Cheng Menjing in advance, so it was impossible to discuss countermeasures with him. "It's so late, Child Yao, please go back." Cheng Zhongming made a gesture of invitation. When Menjing comes out, I will inform you. This. Okay, then I will go back first. Yao Baoang had no choice. The more he was in the sect, the more restrained he was. He couldn't force it. It was a big crime to break into the courtyard of his fellow disciples. Even if Cheng Menjing was his fiancée, he couldn't do it. After all, there was also the issue of the face of the outer martial arts guild. They had said that it would be 3 years. Couldn't he wait? At that time, the sect would definitely punish him severely. Although he wouldn't be sentenced to death, his ambition was in the top management of the sect, so he couldn't make mistakes in such a small matter. Thinking of this, Yao Baoang could only admit defeat. He turned around and quickly left the courtyard of the Cheng family. Phew! Cheng Zhongming breathed a sigh of relief and wiped the sweat on his forehead. He said helplessly, "Father, this is only the first day. I'm afraid there will be trouble in the future." "Yeah, there's no way." Cheng Tianqiu said, "However, we will try our best to block it. This is the only thing we can do." Cheng Menjing was in the back room. In fact, she didn't enter the state of cultivation. A new mental cultivation method secret book, if she wanted to cultivate it, she had to think about it. She heard Yao Baoang's voice outside and listened carefully. Until he left, she was relieved. Cheng Menjing fell on the bed and suddenly touched the bracelet on her wrist. However, the first thing she thought of was not her grandmother, but Xiao Chen. It was not that Cheng Menjing resented her grandmother and Cheng Tiannu for secretly giving birth to Cheng Zhongfan. After all, this was a matter of the older generation. Her grandfather was a very fickle person. After marrying her grandmother, he hooked up with another woman soon after, who was also the biological mother of her uncle Cheng Zhongqian. At that time, he neglected her grandmother. In that case, it was not incomprehensible for Cheng Tiannu to take advantage of the situation. However, although Cheng Menjing understood it, she felt that she definitely couldn't do it. Even when Xiao Chen pursued Shen Jingxian in front of her before, she never thought of betraying Xiao Chen or anything. Now, she wouldn't think about it. At that time, this bracelet was lost and was found by Xiao Chen. At that time, she thought that he wanted to take advantage of her. Now thinking about it, it was infinitely sweet. Cheng Menjing kind of missed the time when she was with Xiao Chen. Perhaps, that was the happiest period of her life. She didn't know if this counted as her falling in love with Xiao Chen. In fact, in her bones, she had already determined that she was Xiao Chen's fiancée. So whether she liked him or not, it was not too important to her. Now, in retrospect, Cheng Menjing felt that she really fell in love with Xiao Chen. She sighed faintly. Maybe, but what could she do? It could be seen that Xiao Chen was more of a responsibility to her. Otherwise, why did so many things happen with Shen Jingxian, Tang Tang, and Yi Xiaoya, but nothing happened with her? Not to mention that there was no chance, in a villa, even if he used force, he would succeed. Cheng Menjing thought that since Xiao Chen was so powerful, it should be easy and pleasant for him to push her down, right? But he didn't do that. Maybe he really didn't like her. Alas. Humph, this bastard, don't forget me in 3 years. What should I do? Forget it then, forget it, this miss doesn't care about it. Humph. Cheng Menjing immediately thought. So, in the contradiction, Miss Cheng fell asleep in a daze. When Xiao Xiao woke up again, it was already afternoon. She dressed up and went to Xiao Chen excitedly. "Brother, do you think I'm beautiful today?" "Well, you're very beautiful." Xiao Chen was discussing the future direction of the Xiao family with Xiao Yuanshan and Xiao Hai. He was going to leave, so he had to arrange things at home. "Am I sexy?" Xiao Xiao turned around and asked again. Xiao Chen was speechless. Xiao Yuanshan and Xiao Hai were still at the side, and Xiao Xiao actually dared to ask this. Sure enough, Xiao Hai's expression changed slightly. He wanted to say something, but he didn't. Xiao Yuanshan squinted his eyes and glanced at Xiao Xiao, but he didn't say anything. Xiao Xiao also realized that she asked a bit too much, especially in front of her father and grandfather. She immediately stuck out her tongue. I was just joking. Brother, when are we leaving? You decide. What time is your class reunion? Xiao Chen asked. Then it's about time, let's go. Xiao Xiao said, Brother, you should dress up too. Don't embarrass me. I'm a man, why do I need to dress up? Wait for me to change. Xiao Chen stood up helplessly and walked towards his villa. Xiao Chen left. Xiao Hai's gaze sharpened. He looked at Xiao Xiao who was also leaving and said, Xiao Xiao, come here. Ah. What is it, Dad? Xiao Xiao turned around and looked at Xiao Hai strangely, is there something? Sit down, I have something to ask you. Xiao Hai's expression was very serious. Xiao Xiao didn't dare to joke around anymore. She quickly and obediently sat on the seat that Xiao Chen was sitting on. Dad. Xiao Xiao looked at her serious father and asked carefully. Although you and Xiao Chen are brother and sister, don't go overboard with some things. Don't let other families see you as a joke. Xiao Hai hinted. What do you mean? Xiao Xiao blinked her big watery eyes. She didn't seem to understand Xiao Hai's meaning. What joke? We didn't bully anyone. You and Xiao Chen have been sleeping together these few days? Xiao Hai didn't answer, but changed the topic to ask. Yes, I'm afraid of the sound of firecrackers. Xiao Xiao nodded. You two are already so big. You should avoid it. Otherwise, how are you going to find in-laws in the future? Xiao Hai hinted. In-laws? Why would I find in-laws? I'm not looking for one. I'm already hurt enough with the Cheng family's matter. Dad, the Xiao family doesn't need to rely on anyone anymore. We don't need to look at anyone's face. Brother is enough. Are you still going to let me marry into other families? Although Xiao Xiao knew that her father didn't mean it that way, she still changed the topic. This. Xiao Hai's expression changed. He felt a little guilty. Hearing Xiao Xiao say this, he felt a little embarrassed. He felt that Xiao Xiao might be against finding a boyfriend. Then, you have to find a boy that you like in the future, right? Yes, I've liked my brother since I was young. Xiao Xiao nodded seriously. Xiao Hai's expression changed. He wanted to say something, but he was interrupted by Xiao Yuanshan. Xiao Yuanshan asked indifferently, Xiao Xiao, do you know something? Know what? What do I know? Xiao Xiao was stunned. She looked at Xiao Yuanshan, Grandpa, what are you talking about? You and Xiao Chen are brother and sister? Xiao Yuanshan's words were probably not understood by anyone. This question was simply nonsense. Yes? Xiao Xiao nodded and looked at her grandfather. It's fine. Xiao Yuanshan waved his hand and said, Go. Have fun at the gathering tonight. Xiao Chen will be leaving after Chinese New Year. You guys won't have much time together. Oh, okay. Grandpa, Dad, I'll go prepare. Xiao Xiao nodded and quickly ran out. Looking at Xiao Xiao's back, Xiao Hai frowned, Dad, just now you.